Welcome to the special meeting on Thursday, April 20th, 2023. I'd like to call this meeting to order. Have a roll call, please.
Commissioner Markler?
Here.
Commissioner Mallory?
Here.
Commissioner Burrow?
Here.
All right, and now make a motion to approve the agenda.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, so we're going to request approval to participate in the pilot initiative for the Closing America's Wastewater Access Gap. Did you want to say anything about it, or?
No, it was just as we discussed at the last commission meeting, scheduling a quick 5-minute meeting to
Okay.
approve their request of us participating in this pilot program.
Okay.
I don't have a problem participating in it, especially to get a plan and get their idea on it, so.
Okay. You good? You have any questions?
I'm just. This is the wastewater for Chaparral.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
We'll
All right.
approve it.
Okay, all right. So I need to make a motion to vote on it? Okay, all right. So I make a motion for approval to participate in the pilot initiative for the Closing America's Wastewater Access Gap.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right,
I'll have to adjourn.
all right. So I'll adjourn this meeting, and then we need to wait for a few minutes to start the next one at 9? Okay, all right, well, we'll adjourn till 9 o'clock.
They
Commission
doubled
meeting
the strength.
of Thursday, April 20th, which is my mom's birthday. So I'd like to call this meeting to order. Happy birthday. Have a roll call, please.
Commissioner Markler?
Here.
Commissioner Matherly?
Here,
Commissioner Burrow?
Here?
And I'd like to make a motion to approve the agenda.
I'll second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, we're here to hear the presentations for the Community Services Grant Funding for fiscal year 2023 and 2024. And the first on our list, Vicki, oh, you guys are ready. 1 second here. Okay. Shoot.
All right, Vicki Milne, Otero Soil and Water Conservation District.
Bob Nichols, Otero Soil and Water.
Eddie Villa, Otero Soil and Water.
Good morning.
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 Well, this year we put in for 110,000. The funding is used for our conservation programs, which include the invasive species program, the watershed health, and then our public outreach that we do at community events and just on our website and things. Last year, we realized we had additional need for funding through our small conservation programs. We have more interest than we had funding. So one of the board supervisors was wanting to increase the funding so that we could set aside a pot of money that we could say that, so that I have 3 people signed up now that I've got a waiting list for 3 deep for next year's funding. And so there's enough interest in it that we really need to make sure we have something available so that we can help these small producers. They're coming in for the federal programs, but their needs are so small that they don't qualify, they don't rank high enough. They're not getting the benefit of those federal dollars, but I see them in there applying and they're doing good work. In the first year we did that in 2021, we allocated $30,000 for it and they paid in $33,000. So it's only 75% cost share. Last year, we were holding back money. We were hoping to start work on our watershed dams. And so we put $22,000 aside and spent $20,000 of that on 3 projects, and they spent 15. So they're doing well repairs, the livestock waterings, the erosion control, brush control, irrigation systems, just to help small farmers just to be able to stay in business. And so we have 2 going right now that will hopefully finish for this fiscal year, and then we're looking at the additional funding to set aside for the next year. The watershed health money is watershed. I mean, we all live in a watershed. We have those 3 watershed dams up in the mountains, and we petitioned for and received $300,000 in capital outlay funds. But we don't know how far that's going to go until we get started. There's a lot of vegetation removal and sediment removal that has to be done out there. And depending on fire season, whether or not we can get them out there as quick as we can in July 1st when the funding starts. We've got to get the vegetation removed to then be able to get the sediment, as much sediment out. So we want to have that buffer in that watershed health account in case there's something that 300,000 doesn't cover. The goal is to get those 3 dams as close to their as-built condition, and then we're putting in for dam rehabilitation funds. Once they're cleaned out, we can get them rehabilitated. They're hazard class right now. Should Curtis Canyon fail, the life and property below, they're looking at, if we do these rehabilitation projects, then the government, USDA, will come in and do that work. And so it's, if we can get them cleaned, then they can come in and do their job, and we can make sure that they're better, we can better protect the citizens by having those structures be rehabilitated to there's a lot different, structures below them than there were when they were built. And so there's more life and property at risk, the schools.
Right, okay.
And we did get special use permits to go in there and work on them. We've been trying to get those permits for 6 years from Forest Service. Anyway, they finally issued 3 permits. We've got to get them signed, but they did issue the permits to us
And
finally.
who has to sign them?
Travis,
The current forest
but
supervisor.
he's being transferred.
Right. So maybe that Erica Luna, his replacement, could sign those? Can we help sprinkle some Mondelez on that for you?
Well, as we're in the same office, I'm hoping before Travis leaves, I can just find him for 5 minutes and just get him just to sign off on them.
Okay, well, if you need our help in that, we'd be happy to try to
So,
facilitate that for you.
Yeah.
Need to get that done.
Appreciate that. That's been, they wouldn't issue them for a long time. Said, well, it's nothing to us. But part of it sits on Forest Service land. The tower does. And finally, they, apparently, according to law, they have to issue us a permit. They just didn't want to do it.
And why not? I mean, why not do it?
You tell me. I mean, we've all tried to work with the Forest Service and I'm not ditching them. They're doing their job, I guess, according to who's above them. But we've tried to work with them for years, and it usually winds up at the last moment that they don't have the manpower, they don't have the money, or we just can't do it. So anyway, we're kind of happy that they finally issued us the permit, so we can do it legally and not have to just go up there and hope we don't get kicked off.
Right,
Mm.
okay.
300,000 should help.
Yeah.
It will benefit the Forest Service lands, being able to remove the vegetation. The reason I'm really wanting to hold back the funding was if we remove those trees, what's going to come down in the next rain that the trees were blocking before. So it's making sure that there's this buffer of, we clean it up and then that huge rainfall event comes through and then we get more debris in. So trying to just work every angle so that on July 1st when that money's there, I've got the landowner approved for getting the special use permits. We've got the Army Corps of Engineers volunteered to come out and mark all the trees for us, so we don't have to pay for someone to go out and mark the trees first. The Natural Resources Conservation, the area engineer is gonna go out and they're gonna estimate the sediment that needs to come out for free for us. So all of our fund, that $300,000 will go to be paying the contractors. So it's getting the most.
Trees? Who's gonna actually go in there and harvest those trees?
We'll have to use a state-approved contractor through the statewide price agreement. We'll get one of those the approved contractors.
State approved or forest approved?
Well, it's through state forestry. The state land office through state forestry is the one that did that statewide price agreement. And so, they have different types of thinning that they have in that, proposal that we can pull from. And there are some local contractors. I think there's 8 local contractors that I pulled from that list that will do work in our area. So starting with those first, because, well, they wouldn't have to travel as far.
Yeah, I'd like to use somebody in Otero if we possibly can, you
Mhm.
know.
Yep, that's where my list starts.
Are you dealing with Jesse up there or strictly through Travis's office?
Well, they've got a new natural resources officer with the Forest Service, Haley Ritger, and she's gonna work with me, as the on-the-ground person, so she can be that liaison person I went to the worker bee, I have to have Travis sign the form, but the people that get out there and do the work, and Haley's gonna work with me to get those people where they need to go and make sure that the prescription that needs to be done can be done on, because it's on Forest Service land. Of all partners to have.
Yeah. Any questions?
Nope, I just want to thank you guys for letting me attend your meetings, including me. I've learned so much just sitting and listening.
Well,
Truly
we
very
appreciate you coming. So, you know what we're
much. Yep,
up to.
yep, I know what you're up to. You do good things.
Thank
Say,
you.
Yeah.
All three of you are invited to any of our meetings or open meetings every month,
Okay,
first Wednesday of every month.
okay.
Yeah. Oh, and this next one will be providing lunch, and apparently the meeting's getting bigger. We're doing the tabletop exercise for our emergency action plan, so we've got all of our emergency services people. The Mescalero Apache tribe has just asked if they can have their emergency services people. Essentially, it's a fire drill for a flood. So we're gonna do that at 11:30, and we're gonna have Chavez and Otero County Emergency Services there, and some volunteer firefighters have been asked to show up. They're the ones that are gonna be working with the people when an emergency happens. And now we've got Mescalero's Emergency Services coming to see how to do it, so they can do one on Mescalero as well.
And this is next Wednesday,
May the 3rd at 11:30.
May 1st?
May 3rd,
Third.
the first Wednesday, so
Oh, yeah.
May 3rd.
Because we've got a meeting on the 4th. And it starts at what time?
11:30.
And it's at the Forest Service building still, or?
Yeah, we'll be in the main conference room, so we can have the large screens going, but I think that would be, I still have to finish figuring out the scenario for it, but it's the first one we've had to do since they finally got us the emergency action plan. So,
Okay.
yeah.
All right. I think that's all I've got. You have anything else?
No.
No?
Nope.
All right, thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
Thank y'all.
Have a good day.
Thank
You too.
Now we've got Paula Merrill.
How are y'all this morning?
Good, how are you?
Good morning.
I'm Paula Merrill from the Sacramento Mountain Senior Services Incorporated. And this is Lindell Kilman. I'm the executive director, and Lynn is our programs coordinator, meaning that she's very important. She puts in all of our data for our numbers of meals, numbers of transportation units, numbers of homemaker, all that stuff. She keeps us organized so that we can get our money from the state and the federal government. We are a 501c3 corporation, and I have a presentation that I want to show you.
All right.
Lynn did it, so. We're official, we have logo.
You are official.
All right, would you go to the next one? All right, our services that include congregate meals, that's where we get together and have a meal in the dining rooms that we have. We have home delivered meals, that's for people who can't get out and travel anywhere to get food or have meals. We have homemaker services to help our seniors stay safe and clean and comfortable in their homes. We have chore services. This is a new thing that we're doing. the way I explain it is it's a little more than homemaker services, a little heavier, like in Cloudcroft, this winter we've had a lot of snow. And people can't get out because their sidewalks and their walkways are covered with ice and snow. Chore Services covers that. Or we've had one lady who needed help with her computer. So we sent Lynn over there, you know. So this is covered by Chore Services, but the one I really like is, and we've had one take us up on this one so far. We've only started doing this this year, is you all know how difficult it is to clean out your bottom cabinets, to keep them organized,
I have
right?
trouble with the top because I can't reach them, but.
Oh, well,
My-
okay,
my own
all right, some people are closer to the bottom than they are the top, but that's okay. Anyway, a lot of our seniors can't get down on their knees to clean out their bottom cabinets and to get them organized. Well, it's like me, if I ever get down there, I gotta go to crane to get up, so, anyway, that's one of our services, to help them get their cabinets and their kitchens organized. Then we have
I
transportation.
need that.
I saw that. We have transportation, and that's where we take people to the doctor, shopping, to get a haircut, to do all of those things that they can't do because they don't have a car, or they don't have, maybe they just can't come down the mountain. We have several who will not drive down the mountain, and I understand that. And then we have assisted transportation, and that's where we take people to the doctor, to therapy or whatever. We sit in with them if they give us permission and take notes of what the doctor says, because you know 4 ears are better than 2. And then we get back with them with their permission, with their families, to tell them what's going on, because sometimes the seniors either forget what has been said or they don't want to tell their children what has been said. So that's what assisted transportation is for. All right, let's go to the next one. Our congregate meals we have in Cloudcroft, High Rolls, and Mayhill. So we cover a pretty good area on 82. I'll get it right in a minute. All right, let's go to the next one. And then I talked about our homemaker services. Let's go on to our chore services. And then I did most of it on that first sheet, so we can go on. I'm sorry. Transportation, and then assisted transportation should be next. And what I really want to talk to you about is our home-delivered meals, and I think that's the next one. Yeah.
We got a call in October
Yeah.
from a lady in Tiburon. And she had a list of 13 seniors who could not drive, who could not get food. Have you been to Tiburon? I'm sure you have. There's not any place up there to really buy food. So she gave us the list, and she said, if we could just have a delivery once a week or once every other week, she volunteered, okay, that she would come to pick up the meals and she would deliver them. I thought, wow, this is great. She has taken out as many as 295 meals for 1 week.
For 2 weeks.
That has upped our home delivery a lot. Then we have another route that covers Weed, Pinon, Sacramento,
Duncan.
and Duncan. Okay? Y'all all know where those are. That's a lot of territory.
I didn't see a helicopter on your request list.
Well, maybe
That would
maybe I
help.
need to put one on there. Okay. So I believe the map is the next one.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. All right. All of the green stars are where we currently have seniors that we serve. Okay? All of the red stars are people that have called in and say,
I need help. Now, I don't really like the word no being in my vocabulary, but some of these places are with the, we have 3 senior centers and I have 10 staff members. That's it. So all of our home delivered meals are delivered by volunteers, okay? So if I were to take up those places, and most of those places have more than one person, okay? I really would need another person, a staff member, and our vehicles are really getting old, and you're gonna be getting a sheet from me that says that you support me, you support Sacramento Mountain Senior Services in the purchase of a vehicle, actually 2 vehicles. Because our vehicles, we're wearing them out, you know, going here, going there, taking things. Because I can't, and I don't want to ask my volunteers to use their own vehicles. They need to use our vehicles. And we make sure that they've had the driving course so that the insurance can cover them. And we keep them in tip-top. We have a wonderful maintenance guy. You know, our transportation supervisor is just wonderful. Everybody who rides with him thinks he is just the bomb, let me tell you. And so, you know, what we have, we take care of because we know we might not, it might be a long time before it can be replaced or whatever. We are down 1 vehicle because our driver was broadsided by another car. And so that puts us at a disadvantage too. But on the ICIP, I have to have your permission for me to ask for these vehicles because I am under your auspices as far as the vehicles are concerned. And so be sure that when you do your ICIP that I mentioned that SMSSI is mentioned on there so that whoever reads the ICIP applications and that sort of thing will know that, yes, y'all, the county knows and we know, and then I will send you the sheet that says that I have your permission to ask for this. So I just wanted you to, a picture's a whole lot better than me just telling you what we do.
I noticed that all your red stars are on the flats.
Or on where?
On the flat.
So that looks like, I don't know, Oro Grande maybe?
Uh-huh.
And that's Alamogordo, that one's Tularosa.
They're not
Yes.
Alamogordo, they're outside Alamogordo. We cannot deliver inside Alamogordo
Right.
because you have an Alamogordo Senior Center, but they cannot go but 2 miles outside
That's what I was
of
gonna
the city.
ask.
So everything that is requested is outside of that. Alamogordo can't help them.
And Tularosa, same thing?
Same thing,
Okay.
because they're both city and village owned.
So that falls on you from Mayhill to deliver down here to
From Cloudcroft,
Oro
yes.
Grande or,
Yes.
wow,
And when somebody needs food, I hate to say no.
right,
And that's why we increased what we were asking for from 80,000 last year to 120,000 this year. And that will really help us with our home. I want to target that to be for our home deliveries. Because, I mean, even the Oliver trays that we put the food in and seal it, those have gone up like you cannot believe. They've gone up at least 30%. And every month we get a notice that says they're going to go up a little bit more on such and such a date. So, thank you for your time.
I had a
I have a
question.
question too.
Yes, could you tell me, the blue area that has the star in it, is that federal land or what
Yes,
is what is
that's
that?
Holloman Air Force Base.
And you have a request at Holloman Air Force Base?
Several.
Solomon doesn't have the infrastructure to, wow.
No.
I don't know, we have just gotten calls from there. And what it is, it's parents of some of the airmen that are with their children.
Mhm.
And of course, they're out all day, and they just want to make sure that their parents have a warm meal for lunch.
I see that this request is a grant match, is why you need it. Does this grant cover all the scope of everything you just presented, or does it cover one specific, like the delivery of the food only?
Oh, no, I needed to get one more person on staff to help us with that. Everybody knows how, well, okay, let me use the proper word, what is it, cross-train. Everybody's cross-trained, so that if somebody is out, somebody can step in and take their place. And so we just need an extra person to help us with that. And they will be working with home-delivered meals, they'll be working with everything. So when you said a match,
It looks like that you need this funding for the grant match. Is that why that check mark is there?
I believe that's
Yeah.
fine. It
That-
might not be correct, but that's
Okay,
a good question to ask.
okay, so that's why I was asking
Oh,
if this
okay.
was needed for you to be able to get this grant award.
yes,
And so you need this match, and this grant covers all the scopes of services that you just.
yes,
Okay,
yes.
okay, that's all I have.
I'm sorry, I misunderstood
That's all
the
right.
question.
You have any questions?
No, I was just, the additional 40,000 that you're asking for from last year, that's gonna cover the extra person you're wanting to
That'll cover
hire?
the extra
And then
person,
the
the extra
mileage
gasoline, the extra
for the
maintenance.
extra areas, okay. No, that's what I was wanting to know.
Okay, I think that's,
That's it.
okay, all right, thank
All
you
right.
so much for the work you guys do, you're
Thank
amazing.
you.
I mean,
We
you're-
try
you are.
hard.
Yeah, we'll work on that helicopter.
Oh, okay.
That's to come with a good looking pilot.
next year.
Definitely needed.
Yes, for sure. Okay, now the Flickinger Center,
86. Good morning.
Good morning, commissioners and
morning.
Good
county
morning,
staff.
Lori.
How are you guys today? My name is Lori Black. I'm the executive director at the Flickinger Center. And with me is Kelly Lynch. He's our amazing technical director. And today we come before you, and I don't envy what you're doing today because this is so important for our county, and we're very appreciative. Today we're going to be asking for a new lighting system for the Flickinger. As you guys know, the county owns the building, and we're trying to be the best stewards that we can. And right now, the equipment is extremely old. And I'm sad that we didn't bring a slideshow to show you some of the amazing things that we've done this year. I know most of you have attended them, so we appreciate that. And before we get any further, I just want you guys to know that working with the county has been really incredible. I've been with the Flickinger for a couple of years, and our relationship has been really, really wonderful. And I really appreciate Pam and Sylvia, and we work a lot with Trent and Eric, as you know, and they're doing a great job. So just wanted to give them kudos before I get any further. So at this time, if you have any questions, Kelly can answer them because this sounds like Charlie Brown's teacher to me when we get into all this technical lighting stuff. So I'm gonna let Kelly kind of take over if you have any questions.
okay.
So basically what we're looking at replacing mainly is our catwalk lights. Those are the lights that are hanging above the audience that shine down onto the stage to front light. They're the ones that when you've had commission meetings at the Flickinger, those are the ones that blind you. But they let the audience see you as well. The lights that we have currently in place, the Strand Cool Beam SIs, were put in, and I was not there for that, so I'm kind of having to estimate. There's no paperwork trail. But it looks like they were the second set of fixtures that went in after Margaret Flickinger started renovating the theater, which puts them around between 1985, maybe as late as 1990. Those particular fixtures are not manufactured anymore. Finding parts for them is rare as hen's teeth. You're looking through, people's back catalogs. due to the age of them and the heat that the bulbs in them generate, most of the reflectors on them have broken over the years, causing them to not give as good a light as they should be able to get. So we are looking at replacing all those with newer modern fixtures that are supported, still manufactured. We're looking at going to an LED system, which right now each fixture uses between 575 to 750 watts. That's per light. These will drop us down to 185 watts per fixture, as well as providing color choices as well, instead of just being white light where we have to use gels in order to change the colors depending on the show.
So when we're
that's
having
going.
meetings, it won't feel like we're sitting on the surface of the sun? Is that what you're telling me?
It will generate a lot less heat.
I
They
like
will
to hear
still,
that.
however, be bright,
Yeah.
but that's needed, like I said, especially for, when you're in the balcony in the back row, for those people to be able to see you. They could be tilted up a little bit so they're not quite as blinding. But yeah, that's mainly what we're looking for, is replacing that very aging and unsupported equipment before they all finally just go out and we don't have any light for that.
Okay. Have any questions?
So would this come out of capital outlay, or does it come out of a community funding?
Do you mean state capital outlay or county capital outlay?
County.
No, this would come out of our social programs fund.
It does, even though it's building improvements?
We could do either. You could have Eric make the request during his budget to address these items, or it can be done this way.
Mhm.
It's technically all coming from the state.
I know,
It's just a different method of requesting.
Mhm. Okay.
Okay. You have anything, Commissioner?
No, I'm
No?
good.
All right, thank you so much.
All right.
Keep up the good work.
Thank you
You're
for
welcome.
everything you do for the Flickinger.
Thank you.
And the kids.
Thank you. Okay, Main Street. Good morning, how are you? Good.
Good, how are you?
So your wife's been painting some windows.
Oh, yeah,
Doing good?
she loves it.
I
My
bet.
kids love watching her do it, too.
She's good.
Thank you. I'll let her know you said so. All right. Good morning, Commissioners. Good morning, staff. Thank you for letting us speak with you today. If you haven't met me, which I think everybody has, my name is Nolan Ojeda. I'm the Executive Director for Alamogordo Main Street. This is my president of the board, Claudia Loya. She also owns the dress shop that all the kids are swarming for prom
I was just
right
in
now.
there this weekend with my granddaughter. She
Yeah.
loves her dress, yeah.
You'd be amazed how many boys are in there picking out tuxes right now. So before I get into our grant request, I wanted to give everybody just kind of a little bit of a background on what Main Street is, how we work, and how we're funded. So Main Street is a nonprofit 501c3, right? And our entire purpose is to economically revitalize the district. So I know in the past we've been heavily event-oriented prior to my being hired about a year ago. But since I've come onto staff, we've changed directions pretty drastically. So while the events are great and they're really fun and they're a lot of hard work, they're not great revenue generators, and they don't have the economic impact on our district that we actually are seeking to do for our community. Everybody talks about when downtown was bustling in the good old days and the, what was it called, downtown hoedowns and crazy days and all that stuff. And so really ultimately our goal is to get it back to that kind of livelihood, maybe not back to what it was, but back to being that heart of the city where people come to gather and where our small businesses come to thrive and grow. So we are funded with a contract through the city. We are contracted with them. It is they sign an agreement with the state that says that they will maintain a contract with us as an organization here. The main purpose of that contract is to ensure that they are partners with us, so that they support a lot of our efforts in downtown. The contract amount minimum is set based on population. So right now that is $40,000 because we have about 35,000 people in Alamogordo. That $40,000 basically just pays for the one executive director that is hired for the organization. All of our funding for any projects, events, etc. has to come from fundraising or grants. Some of the things we're taking on this next fiscal year, We've totally changed our strategies. It used to be focused on small business and trying to fix the very scary Frogger intersection on 10th and New York, but we've shifted gears to be more customer focused. So for the next 5 to 10 years, our focus will be on building things that the community, the locals, multi-generational, right, from the kids to the elderly, what they want downtown and how do we get it down there. And our other focus is going to be on getting our Holloman neighbors downtown. What do the Holloman personnel want in their downtown so that they can start being a part of Alamogordo more and more. And maybe we can start fighting back on that reputation that Holloman isn't a great place to be stationed. We're already making headway on a lot of these things. We have a partnership already beginning with Holloman Air Force Base. We're going to be doing an event down there on base with them that's going to be in conjunction with our Downtown Nights events that we do every first Friday. And we actually have a meeting with their marketing director coming up on Monday. And so we're kind of in this unprecedented moment with Holloman as an organization and building a partnership there. So we're already making headway pretty fast. So today, what we are requesting funding for is two things, but they kind of play off each other. So we were accepted into the Arts and Cultural Jumpstart Program, which is basically a guided program to help us build the packet that we'll need to submit in order to get that arts and cultural designation through the state. It takes about 1 to 2 years to build enough of an application to actually have a chance to get approved. And if you want to get approved, you have to be recommended by New Mexico Main Street. They're the ones who recommend to the New Mexico Arts that you should get approved for the designation. In front of you, I gave you guys a printout of some of the benefits of being an arts and cultural designated city. So we'll have new boundaries once we get there. They won't be the same as our Main Street boundaries, which means they could expand. So for instance, Otero Art Space is not in our Main Street district, but it will be in our Arts and Cultural district. So there'll be different boundaries. If we get that designation, we will be put on a list that is promoted nationally and across the state. The last time I looked, it was something like almost 60% of the tourism into New Mexico the last year was aimed at trying to get to arts and cultural based, like strong economies, right? Santa Fe, but some of the smaller ones too, even as small as like Mora, which is really tiny. Another really awesome thing is a doubling of state historic tax credits within buildings in the district. That doesn't just mean commercial buildings in the district. That's also residential buildings in the district. And as you know, we have a lot of multi-use buildings, especially on this side of the street, that could probably qualify if we just put in a little bit of legwork. We get technical assistance through New Mexico Arts. We'll get historic preservation help, and we get access to some tourism resources that we don't have right now. And then this one I'm really excited about, but I don't think the city's going to want to hear it from me. Use of LIDA to help culturally significant facilities, like maybe the Onion Dome building, right? Something like that. So basically, the whole point of getting this designation is that we can really boost our creative economy. And almost anything can fall under that wheelhouse, creative economy. You work on computers, it's creative economy. You paint, creative economy. You sew, creative economy. Almost anything. Engineering falls under the creative economy. So the focus here is to try to get that designation because it'll open doors for grants that we can't currently apply for. It'll help us build partnerships we haven't had in the past. Some of the requirements to have it includes having a committee that has a city representative on it, as well as someone from your local art council. So we've had about 5 meetings so far, but in order to move forward, we're supposed to have an arts and cultural district coordinator. I work about 60 hours a week. This person's supposed to be part-time. I don't currently know if I have the capacity to take on another 10 to 20 hours a week in my job. So part of the request is to hire a part-time person to take on that role of being the coordinator. So I'm not solely responsible for doing that. The other part of this request, we've held about 5 focus groups so far with the community. They're open. The goal of these focus groups for the ACD is to get the community's input on what do they want to see us start doing to revitalize and really boost this arts and cultural district work. One thing that came up over and over and over again in these meetings was people want more nightlife, and they want some place to sit and hang out, drink a cup of coffee, have a sandwich. Everybody's constantly calling me about why don't we have patrons hall anymore. So one of the ideas we had, and we're working with an economic development consulting firm, is making what's called like a business accelerator. So what this could do, there's many ways we could do it. We could potentially buy a little food truck and maybe put a couple coffee shop folks that want to open a coffee shop but they're not ready, and give them kind of a low risk opportunity to test out opening a coffee shop downtown. Other ways we could do it is by partnering with building owners that might have vacant buildings. We talked about possibly reaching out to Picacho Brewery, which doesn't open till 4. Maybe we could use their space and have somebody come try it out. In this accelerator, it's not just, okay, let's get, an espresso machine and figure out how to get a building and then slap somebody in there. You create an entire program that takes a potential entrepreneur from the very beginning steps, training, business plan. We'd be working with SBDC to do this as well, but you take them from the very beginning steps, permitting, licensing, everything, walk them through the entire process, and then put them in a space in our downtown area for 3-4 months, let them try it out, see what kind of revenue they generate, see how much the community really does want it when they say they want it, prove that it is a viable business opportunity, and then on the back end you decide, okay, how do we move this person permanently here into a brick and mortar place and open this business for good? So those are and that's part of our ACD work. So it all kind of ties together, but I'm asking for the funding for the 2 separate things. A part-time coordinator and setting up this accelerator. Right now we're saying coffee shop. It might change as we continue these focus groups. Might be a restaurant, might be something a little different, but as of right now, that's kind of what we're looking at for the next year.
Sounds like a good idea.
Thank you. Do you guys have any questions for me?
How much did you say Alamogordo is participating, distributing to you?
40,000.
So they're giving us 40,000 to pay my salary. Unfortunately, this year we're redoing the way we're doing our contract. So instead of, in the past, it's been made clear that it's really hard to find funding. Oftentimes, if I can find grants, or my predecessors, if we could find the grants, oftentimes it's not enough to pay for the full project. And so at that point, you kind of have to abandon the project. And so, it's kind of what we're doing is, instead of putting these projects as like, yes, we're going to do these, city, we're putting it as a contractual obligation. We're saying, here's what we're going to do, which is basically just the basis of having the organization to open the door to resources like the $1.9 million we just got in capital outlay for the city. They literally couldn't not get that money if we didn't have an accredited Main Street program here. So it's kind of this weird setup that by having us here, it gives the city the resource to, like, the pathway to other resources, grants that the city can apply for, capital outlay that the city doesn't qualify for. That's really what the $40,000 is supposed to pay for. It's just supposed to pay for us to exist, for them to pay me to run my butt off all over the place, and that's really it. They're supposed to, the whole model is that as we take on more work, they partner with us. I go find as much money as I can outside, then I come to the city and I say, I need another $6,000 and we can light this project off the ground. And so we're redoing our entire contract to reflect that. So these projects specifically, I've grouped under projects of opportunity. So if I can find the funding to do these projects, we will take them on in the next year. If I can't find the resources, then unfortunately we just don't have the capacity to move them forward. And that includes the arts and cultural district work. I don't know if we'll have the capacity to move that forward without more resources at this point.
Okay. All right. More questions? Nope.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Thank you for work you're doing. I'm anxious to see downtown get all spruced up.
Yeah, me too. They're saying August, so.
Yeah. Z-Trans?
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
Good, haven't seen you in a while.
I said, it's been a while.
Hi, how you doing, Shay?
I'm fine, how you doing?
Thank you.
You've got two, are we doing the orange route one first? Which one are we doing first?
Which one do you want to do first, the orange route or
Let's do the county.
the county?
The county.
Okay.
Oh, the numbers on that, right.
Yeah.
Good morning, commissioners, staff, audience. My name is Joe Harden, Director of Z-Trans, and we have Sharon Gilsdorf, our Chief Financial Officer here. Good to see you this morning again.
Good morning.
We come before you with our transportation grant that we ask for from you guys every year, and she's got the numbers of how much. I don't have it on this thing.
The cost of what the Otero County contributes is $43,149, and that's for the year. The total cost of public transportation is about $1.7 million. We get assistance from FTA, 50% for operating and 80% for administrative. So, and what we ask for the county is administrative and operating expenses. So.
And that goes to fund the transportation in Otero County, Alamogordo, all the way up through to Mescalero, which is still Otero County. And the other portion that we're looking at is the Las Cruces route, which the local funding is the city, has been the county, Mescalero, and the city of Las Cruces. And that amount is
$25,000, yes.
$25,000.
For the orange route.
Is Las Cruces still participating in the orange route?
Yes, they are.
Yes, Las Cruces, we received $10,000 in funding from Las Cruces, and the county has been generous enough to give us $25,000. And we have recently asked for funding from Thrive for the $14,794, and the remainder from our Z endowment that we put in ourselves of $5,800. So the total cost of the orange route is about $111,225. So with the money that the county gives, we leverage back 100% of that. So you put in $25,000, we leverage from FTA another $25,000. And because we're a nonprofit and run a public transportation system, we have to have partners, and it's very important that we have the partners we do, because normally a public transportation system is run by a municipality, and the match is the municipality. They put in 100% of the match. So that's how it works.
And you notice the reason I put two charts here was because the bottom chart has the total ridership of our system. If I put the other in with it, you barely even see the little lines, but the top chart has the orange route. And if you notice on both charts, and if you go look at the numbers on the back page, you'll see everything has actually been climbing up until the pandemic years, which we outlined, and it's very noticeable in the chart. But we're now seeing, since it's been declared over and all that, our numbers are coming back up. And with the Las Cruces, we're allowing veterans to ride free, children ride free. So we're seeing those numbers go up as well. And I think next year with college, I think they're supposedly going to be tuition free or something like that. So we think that will really help our numbers here, because the students get to live here and go to college there.
Another important aspect about the orange route is the disabled veteran population that we have here in Alamogordo. And we have a gentleman here today, Mr. Robert Crisp, behind me. He is a rider of the orange route, and he's a disabled veteran. And the orange route is his only way to get medical attention. It's basically his lifeline. And we have many stories of that, and he's here in support of the orange route because it's so important, not only to our young people, but to the elderly, the disabled veteran population.
How did that work out when the taxi service shut down and, everybody was screaming for help from you guys? I mean, how were you able to compensate? Because they're able to go house to house, and people actually have to make it to the bus stop to be able to pick it up.
Right. one program, our paratransit, anytime you're on a fixed route system like we do, from point to point to point, a paratransit is for medically qualified individuals. They can't just make it to bus stop. And we can either go curb to curb, door to door to pick them up. We saw a small increase in that. But as far as the fixed route ridership, is again slowly coming up, so we're not really seeing the increase as the cab company yet. So.
Another point I'd like to make also is that the bus that used to come to Alamogordo, the van that used to come to Alamogordo and pick up the veterans, they no longer have that option. They don't have that availability. And so basically the Orange Route is the only mode of transportation to get them to Las Cruces, and then from Las Cruces they can catch a bus from Las Cruces to El Paso to get the medical care that they need in El Paso, and then come back, catch the bus and come back again. And the reason why we started the Orange Route was because the senior center, the population there, they had a meeting with Yvette Harrell and Mayor then Susan Galea, and one of the barriers that they found was the public transportation, or any transportation. They didn't have family to take them to a medical appointment. They had to do without. And so the NMDOT piloted a route in the middle of their fiscal year, which they normally don't do, and that's how this all started. And it has just blossomed, but people depend on it, the citizens of Otero County, and even from Mescalero, they can come down from Mescalero to catch a bus to catch the route to go to Las Cruces and stuff. You know, so for higher education, medical appointments, you know, just it's a quality of life issue.
Yeah, with this route and with Las Cruces, we have a pretty seamless system from Ruidoso all the way through to Las Cruces, El Paso, Bingo Tier C on the South Central Regional Transit District. So it's quite evident it is needed.
Okay, and you had a question, sir?
When the DAV transportation went out, that left us in a real bind.
Okay.
There's no other way. I have medical appointments at Mountain View, the cardiologist on, and stuff like that, so that's the only way I have to get to my appointments is that bus.
Okay, we certainly want to help with that, so. Any questions? Nope, questions? All right, thank you so much.
Thank you
so much, and it's good to see you all.
You folks have a good day.
Thank you.
Got the library?
No, I said, I won't be again.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Excuse me. Good morning, how are you? Good, how are you?
Good morning.
Hi, how are you? I'm here.
I'm Kim Underwood, the library manager of Alamogordo Public Library. And first of all, I want to thank you for the support that you've given us, especially the last couple of years, because we've really been able to do some incredible things. And the county funding at the 50,000 level has really made a difference in some of the things that we could do. What we are doing with the county funds is expanding, our collections. We keep that. We have probably about a quarter of the county residents that utilize the library and use our services, which we've actually been able to expand on some of our services as well. As you can see in the first page that I gave you, all of the collections that we keep relevant and current for all of our community, all of our citizens. Also, on the second page, something else that the county has helped incredibly help us fund is some things like streaming music, streaming video. What we try to avail to our community is, even when we are closed, that they can access our website and still utilize our services. They can do all kinds of research. They can have all kinds of educational opportunities and entertainment as well. On the third page that I gave you, we are trying to promote our accessibility to our handicapped and disabled community. And we have many different pieces of equipment, services that we offer that help us to avail those services to them as well. Some of those are for the blind and visually disabled, as well as the hearing impaired. And we've added a few other pieces of equipment this last year, just to help our general population when they're actually shopping around for the media that they want to take home.
What is JAWS?
That is actually a screen reader that they can, it will actually read to them so that they can, we also have a magnifier, so if they have some disability and they just need things expanded, they can put their documents in there. But the actual screen reader will read to them what the documents say. Something else we were able to do in this last year, with the assistance of ARPA funding and from our funding, a donation, a very generous donation from our friends at the library, was to purchase some new public area seating, and we definitely needed that just to keep everyone comfortable and safe. Having the county funds to help us keep up our collection has allowed us to use donation funds to also, in other areas, to be able to enhance our library. On the next page, there's things that we've done in the last couple of years. Also is put in a security camera system. We actually have 4 cameras, security cameras, just in our children's area to try to keep them safe. All of the staff has gone through 2 sessions for advanced active shooter training, and we've purchased some bullet-resistant shields as well to keep under our public counters, just so that our staff can be safe and we can possibly help our patrons be safe if we should ever encounter some kind of tragedy like that. I know you are familiar with our branding and our new marketing and promotional thing that we have done this past year. We are trying to make our services available and known to the entire community. We have a lot to offer. Something we're also doing is partnering with Main Street. We're working with them on their arts and cultural district, and our hope is to put some type of library presence on Main Street for the convenience of the community as well. We've also, in this last year, the city gave us an additional library clerk, which has helped us greatly to be able to expand our hours of service. And so we are now open 6 days a week on Fridays We do curbside and phone reference pickup. You can do just about anything curbside on Friday that you could if we were open. Like I said, the county funding is very instrumental in helping us do what we need to do each year. And it helps us to meet our state grant match so that we are eligible for GO bond funding each year, and the state grants and aid as well.
Okay, any questions?
That's not checked, Mark, about the grant match on that page. What is your loss rate? So you checked out 85,000 items. What is the loss rate?
It is very minimal. What we've started, we don't have a security system because in the past, that has not worked very well. There's so much metal in our building, especially at the entrance. So that was abandoned even before I came along a couple of years ago. So what we do now is we have ongoing inventory that our reference librarians go through and do. We try to go through the entire library each year, and so we're looking at less than 5% loss. So it's definitely not something that we're having a problem with.
Any questions?
Nope.
Okay.
I bought some books from the mall this weekend because it was closed, and I'm not intending on buying books, but walking through there and of course find a book and use your little drop box, and I thought, wow, I hope this honesty system is working.
Yeah.
Yeah, 'cause, yeah, and I think it's pretty neat.
Yeah. Yeah. The bookstore, the foundation, they do help us as well during our summer reading, so we appreciate you using them as well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Teresa? Somebody from CAP? Morning. Teresa's not here because she's headed to Houston, isn't she? Yeah, I read about that.
Thank you.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
I am Teresa's assistant, Jennifer Clark, and Teresa is not able to be here, but she did send a video. Were y'all able to get it going? We can watch her video right quick. And I do have her on the phone for emergency
I
backup.
was wondering, she's going crazy not being able to be here.
She is.
She's on a good mission, though.
Yeah.
This funding request by Teresa Van Winkle, RN, Executive Director. I want to thank you for the opportunity, Commissioners, to be here this morning and to make this presentation. I want to thank you for the opportunity, Commissioners, to be here this morning and to make this presentation. I want to thank you for the opportunity, Commissioner, to be here at this morning and to make this presentation. I want to thank you for the opportunity, Commissioner, to be here at this presentation.
So I have the board, well, they're working on that. The board from CAPT is here with me. This is Charlie. I have Renee, and I also have Larry.
Good morning.
Good morning.
And Mark's back there too. Oh, Mark's way back there. And I have Teresa on the phone. Teresa, you're still.
Community Services Funding Request by Teresa Van Winkle, RN, Executive Director. Community Services Funding Request by Teresa Van Winkle, RN, Executive Director. Community Services Funding Request by Teresa Van Winkle, RN, Executive Director.
This worked fine, by the way, yesterday when we went through it.
Nobody's listening.
Teresa, I'm gonna put you on speaker, okay?
She wanted to talk.
Okay, you're on speaker now.
Okay. Hello, everyone.
Good morning.
Boy, the best laid plans of mice and men. I worked all night to get that video finished so it would be there for you. Do you have the CAP statistics in front of you?
Yes, they do.
Okay. So this is kind of to show you what we've done over the last 23 years since this organization was started. I am in Houston, Texas today with a lady with advanced cancer that truly has the potential of being cured by the surgery she's undergoing.
Teresa,
Yeah,
I think they got it ready.
okay, go for it. Incorporated Community Services Funding Request by Teresa Van Winkle, RN, Executive Director. I want to thank you for the opportunity, Commissioners, to be here this morning and to make this presentation. Each of you should have received a copy of CAP's comprehensive request for $25,000 for fiscal year 23-24. I apologize for not being here in person, but I made a promise in October to assist her by choice. I'm in a waiting room, in the surgical waiting room of the Head and Neck Center at MD Anderson Comprehensive Cancer Center in Houston, Texas, waiting for Michelle. She asked me not to show her face on this slide because she wants to come and meet you in person next year. Michelle was diagnosed in Albuquerque after being transported by air ambulance from Gerald Champion Regional Medical Center. She was advised to have 3 rounds of a specific chemotherapy, then to come back to Albuquerque for surgery. A local oncologist told her she could not be treated here in Alamogordo. 6 weeks later, she phoned CAPT, angry, with severe headaches, and exasperated and a little confused. We got her in the same day. She was here for 4 hours while we researched her diagnosis, reviewed her recommended treatment and care, and made phone calls to find a chemo-oncologist that would provide the recommended treatments. She has a very rare osteosarcoma of bone in her forehead, sinuses, and orbital of her right eye. This area around over here, all of this is a frontal view, and all of this is bony tumor and into her sinuses and around the orbit of her eye. This is a view from the top of her skull, and you can see where her skull has actually been eaten to where it's soft, and then it pushes out with the pressure of the tumor. But the good news that we got when we went to MD Anderson the first time is that this is a bony tumor. It's not a brain tumor. It's not infiltrating the brain. It's just pushing the brain away. For a surgery of this magnitude, you need to be at a major medical center, specializing in cancer treatment with a team of skilled surgeons who can not only remove the tumor without damaging vital nerves and organs, but who can also complete a facial reconstruction at the same time. That place is MD Anderson Cancer Center in Houston. Michelle has 6 doctors in the operating with her today. This is just one example of the situations CAP clients are facing when they present at our front doors requesting help. Let me share a brief history of what CAP has done in Otero County over the past 22 years. If you look right here, you see our volunteer hours between 2000 and 2022. That's a total of 82,698 hours. At $25 an hour, that comes to $2,067,450. In the second column here, you have cancer support services. Building sign-ins, they started in 2003 with the grand opening of the CAPT building on June 17, 2003. Over the years, we've had 29,992 people sign in at the front desk. We've had 27,500 phone calls, and we've done more than 1,300 intake apps for cancer patients to help them find the best path for their cancer journey. Next, we go to the Center for Integrative Wellness. This was first opened in February of 2005, and each section has opened at a different time as money and time allowed. So we have our Bright intakes, which is a form of bioregulation therapy. We've had 157. We've had Bright sessions, 1,207. Fountain of Youth sessions, 201. Aqua-Chi foot baths, 1,313. Medical massage chairs, 431. New services over the past few years, 176. Zero gravity chair, 313. Now, we have both paid and free services or sliding scale services. And so we have percentages here showing what is paid and what is free for each year. And if you look at it, you'll see that we are pretty close to 45% paid services and 55% free services. Then you move on to the next section, and this is health education. So Sunsafe Health Fairs, 74. Educational presentations in the community, it's on many topics, 660. Educational events, it's going out and to an event and explaining what we're doing, 321. Radio shows, 83. Television commercials. We have been very blessed by TDS and they've done 203,800 or 484. Health fairs, we've done 103. And then Trinity Turtle Healing Labyrinth Park is the last. And we have done 5 stress reduction classes and 12 special events out of Trinity Turtle so far. And there were 3 to 7 people walking daily at Trinity Turtle Healing Labyrinth Park in 2022. Who are our stakeholders? Our community members, integrative wellness advocates, persons suffering from major diagnoses not responding to standard care, business leaders who need healthy workforce, our city, county, state, community leaders, because illness drains tax dollars, our wonderful CAPT volunteers and staff, our grantors, EDD, outdoor recreation trails. They see the value in Trinity Turtle Healing Labyrinth Park as a tourist attraction. They also see value in Trinity Turtle Healing Labyrinth Park RV spaces with overnight camping where visitors spend $331 versus $83 if they're only here for a day. So what is CAPT's impact on the community? 1, CAPT offers new solutions to old problems. And 2, clients report improved quality of life. CAPT's biggest problem? People supporting us through social enterprise get better and then they no longer need our services. Donations are down largely due to money fears stemming from the pandemic, business closures, job losses, rising cost of living, unstable U.S. political arena. CAPT is working to create a self-sustaining organization on Highway 54 between Alamogordo and Tularosa. We may have chosen the worst time in history to expand a business, but for the stressed out people in our world, we chose the best time. With your help, we will get past this big pothole in the road and continue.
Hello, my name is Teresa Van Winkle. My passion is helping people find quality of life. I've been a registered nurse for 33 years. I am also a prolific visionary, blessed with family, friends, and volunteers who have shared in my visions. And together we have created CAPT Incorporated, a primary cancer prevention and sports center, CAPT Center for Integrative Wellness, a true quality of life center, and we have made great strides in the building of Trinity Turtle Healing Labyrinth Park, a built multi-generational environment for reducing stress. This labyrinth park is being built to last 100 years, and its paths are wide enough for 2 wheelchairs to pass, and it is filled with joyful people of all ages and cultures walking its winding paths, and benches within 50 feet of any walker. The vision for Trinity Turtle Healing Labyrinth Park came June 9, 2006, while driving to welcome my newest granddaughter into the world. I immediately phoned my precious Larry and shared the details. After 40 years of marriage, Larry knew when I am gifted with a vision, I am heartbound to work until the vision is fulfilled. Trinity Turtle Healing Labyrinth Park will be transformational for the Tularosa Basin and mountain communities it serves. It will bring tourists from across the country and the world. It will be 200 feet wide and nearly 300 feet long, making it the largest permanent classical labyrinth in the world. Over the past 16 years, more than 7,000 people have voiced their support for this high desert park, and 4,500 have backed up their support with their signatures. We have also raised more than $335,000 in cash and in-kind contributions. This high desert park will have solar lighting to facilitate walking in the cool of the night. Trinity Turtle Healing Labyrinth Park will improve health in our community by inspiring people from 1 to 101 to walk. Walkers will also realize increased mental clarity and decreased overall stress. Trinity Turtle Healing Labyrinth Park will be a jewel in the crown of New Mexico's economic development and a treasure to all her citizens. With your help, we can finish Trinity Turtle Healing Labyrinth Park, and it will keep serving the people of our community, state, nation, and world for the next 100 years.
To help our patients. There's not just one, there's two. There's a little one. This is going to be made out of concrete. When we build this, will you come and walk? Yes. Yeah. So it's 2 miles if you walk in and out.
Hi, I'm Mike Espiritu. I'm the president and CEO of the Otero County Economic Development Council. This project's important for Alamogordo because it'll bring people from all over the country right here to our community.
Gerald Champion for the health of it. Great idea! We love it! Let's do it! Let's make this happen! Hi, we're CAP volunteers.
My name is Warren Robinson. I'm president of the board.
My name is Mark McCree. I'm the vice president of the board.
My name is Renee Stanton, and I am the secretary of the board.
My name is Charlie Hester, and I'm treasurer of the board.
My name is Larry Lorenzo. I'm responsible for education and awareness of stress management.
We fully support the completion of Trinity Turtle Healing Labyrinth Park and Trinity Turtle Village.
And I thank you for allowing us to do this presentation today.
I put you back on speaker. Okay. The pamphlet that I handed out is actually the services that we have at the Center of Integrative Wellness as well. So you can know that.
Okay. Do you have that, and you also have the community services?
Yes.
Okay, great.
One is confusing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hello, commissioners, can you hear me?
Yes.
Good morning. I want to tell you that they just came out and announced that they have removed her right sinus and down to the base of the tumor at this point. Her surgery suite is for 14 hours today, so it's going to be a long day. Are there any questions? I've given you a tremendous amount of information.
I don't think I've got any questions.
I don't have any questions.
I'm good.
Thank you, Teresa, for everything you do.
Thank you, Amy.
We're praying for Michelle.
Appreciate you guys.
Thank you. You guys have a safe trip.
Yeah. Please put her in your prayers, everyone that's there. We'd appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you. Thank you, guys. Thank you.
How did your presentation go Monday?
The extension office?
County Commissioners. I'm Kelly Knight with the Otero County Cooperative Extension Service. I'm the Program Director and Family and Consumer Science Agent. And with me today is my supervisor.
I'm Tom Dean. I'm the Southwest District Department Head for Cooperative Extension Service.
Good morning.
I cover the 9 counties down here.
Okay, you got a big area.
A little bit.
A lot of driving.
So in addition to myself, many of you have met our additional agents, our agricultural agent, Sid Gordon, and our newest member to our team is Kaylee Gillespie. She's our 4-H agent. So we're glad to be fully staffed now. And in addition to that, we also have an administrative assistant. So our mission is to reach people in our county, all people in our county, with our educational programs to help improve their quality of life. So we do that through our programs to provide them that knowledge. So I'd like to tell you a little bit about each of those program areas, starting with 4-H. 4-H is probably our best known program. We have 7 4-H clubs in Otero County. We did add a new 4-H club this year, that's Holloman 4-H Club, and we're really glad to get that going again. It's been several years since we've had a presence with our 4-H program at Holloman. It's a small club, but we got to start somewhere, so we're hoping we're going to get that established and it'll grow from there. So we rely on our volunteer 4-H leaders. We are very grateful for them and their willingness to provide all their countless hours and resources to help develop young people in their 4-H clubs. So right now they are working with our 4-Hers on various project work, getting ready for our Achievement Day, which will be later in the summer, and then of course for the livestock program, their animals for the fair season, early fall and late fall. We recently hosted the 4-H Leader Certification for Shooting Sports here in Otero County, and we are grateful to be able to use the county range for a portion of that. We brought in over 100 leaders, volunteers from around the state to do that training. Shooting sports is one of our best programs here in Otero County. We have several different disciplines, and again, we rely on our leaders to make that happen. So they're getting ready for competition right now. We have a group that will be going up at the beginning of May to Raton to participate in the state contests. And then we have various other contests coming up as well. We do send quarterly reports to kind of let you know what we have going on. And one that the last one that we most recently sent to you was for the first part of the year. And one thing that I realized sitting here that I forgot to mention in it is that we had a 4-Her go to the National 4-H Contest for Public Speaking. That was for impromptu speaking in January. So she went to Denver and represented Otero County and New Mexico, and that received 3rd place. So we were very proud of her for doing that. We also have a lot of leadership programs. Earlier this year, our high school age youth went to a 3-day leadership conference in Albuquerque, hosted by the whole state. And we have a group going this weekend to Youth Getaway at Glorieta Camp in Santa Fe County. So that'll be a lot of different leadership workshops, and again, just more ways for kids to develop not only leadership but life skills. In addition to our 4-H clubs, we also try to reach as many youth in the county that aren't in 4-H. We consider all youth in the county to be part of our program that we want to reach. So we do that through school enrichment, and one of the programs that our 4-H agent is doing right now is the Egg to Chick program. That's a chick embryology program that she takes into the schools with an incubator and goes through the 21-day process through hatching them.
Have you figured out which came first? The chicken or the egg?
Well, I'm not the expert on that, but we'll let her let you know about that. So she's just finishing that up with 2 schools right now. And then, of course, our agricultural agent, with the temperatures warming up, we have all kinds of people just coming in and calling, contacting him for help with their yard and gardens. And so not only does he help people with just their yard and backyard questions, but of course he helps our county producers, ranchers, farmers, and such. Something that is of topic right now that he has been helping clientele in the county with is the pecan weevil quarantine. So A lot of people reach out to him. He's worked with NMDA to help get that information out and what's going on with that. So a lot of people call because they know Sid, they know he's connected and he has resources and he can answer their questions. So we get a large volume of calls for our agricultural agent. In addition to that, he oversees our master gardeners, which we have a new program going right now. We just added 13 new master gardener volunteers. So they go through an intensive several-month training to then in turn be able to volunteer in our communities and help people with their gardening, horticulture questions, so then we can reach more people. This is how we are able to reach more people in our county by the Train the Trainer programs. He also is very active in the cooperative weed management. He's on a lot of committees. I'm sure many of you see him in the community when you go to those meetings as well. And then he helps support 4-H. So we all, as extension agents, help do 4-H programming. So his primary area of expertise that we rely on him for is his horsemanship. So he helps our 4-Hers with their horsemanship projects. And then as the family and consumer science agent, I do a lot in the areas of family health and wellness. So this, after the new year and going into the spring, I've been doing a lot in the areas of diabetes education. So I have been doing some programs where we are able to provide, through some grant funding that I was able to obtain, free A1C testing for our participants in the diabetes, and then we do a series of education with them. Anything from nutrition, physical activity, managing stress and such. So we do an A1C test at the beginning of the program, and then after a series of several classes, we'll do another one 12 weeks later, and we just did one on Tuesday of this week. And it's exciting to see a lot of our program participants can really see a difference in how they've been able to manage their blood sugars better through that A1C result by applying that knowledge and education that they gained through the program. I'm planning to start another one of those programs in Cloudcroft next week. I've also been going to Mescalero since the beginning of March to do cooking classes. I work with the diabetes program up there. We did a series in March for adults, and right now we're doing a series of cooking classes for youth on Tuesday evenings. I also do a lot in the area of food preservation, so that'll be starting to gear up. Last year, I think I mentioned at this meeting that we're seeing a lot of requests and information, requests for information for self-reliancy skills. So that goes along with gardening. Our master gardeners right now are teaching a seed to supper program. It's a beginner vegetable program. It doesn't cost a lot, and so from that also feeds into food preservation. So people who have a lot of home gardens and have all these tomatoes and they don't know what to do with them, that's where I can help them, teach them how to preserve it, whether that be canning, freezing, or drying. And then my area of support for the 4-H program comes in the area of home economics projects. We just finished a series of Monday afternoon sewing sessions. We've been doing that since November. So we've had several kids who've come through that and have finished a variety of different project items from doing sewing with myself and our volunteers at the Extension office. So that's a little overview of our program and what we've been up to lately. Our request is for 1/3 of our salaries and operations. So I mentioned there's 4 of us. There's actually a 5th person in our office, but that doesn't cost the county anything. We applied for a grant and we get grant funding through the SNAP education program. So she's a nutrition educator. Again, I train and work with her to go out into the schools, the food banks, the food pantries, the senior centers, to again do more of that family health and wellness programming. So in order to get that match for state funds and federal funds, we have to receive the county dollars to match that. And we included this year in our application a page that kind of breaks that down.
while you're kind of looking for that little aspect on the state and federal funds, one other aspect is Kelly kind of gave you a rundown, but you do have 2 full professors, faculty members of New Mexico State University working in our extension office with Kelly and Sid, and then our recent new hire with Kaylee. So they come with a great deal of expertise, and they've made it through the university system to be able to reach that rank. So their scholarly activity and curriculum development and things that they do that all influences everything. They're pretty well sought after as state resources as well for other agents to be able to garner their knowledge and provide their programming efforts in other counties as well. So just
We're
wanted
lucky
to
to
mention
have all
that.
of you. I keep telling you, 4-H and FFA are saving the world. That's our only chance. You guys have any questions?
I'm good with it.
Right.
Okay,
Well,
all right,
thank you.
thank
We
you
are
so
so
much.
grateful for all your support, not just the funding, but anything else we ask of you. I know we call on you sometimes to serve on our search committees or to judge our 4-H public speaking contests, and that is really important. So we appreciate everything you do
We
for us.
enjoy doing it. We're glad
Great.
to help. You guys do a
Great. We'll
great
call
job.
you again.
Yes. We'll be there.
Okay, thank you so much.
Do want to mention one thing that we might want to work on a little bit. This last year, the way the funding request went, y'all are doing more of a grant contract type operation. Love to be able to visit with the finance manager a little bit. My goal is to make sure that the funds that Otero provides goes directly here. That's the way the system was set up. But as you guys develop new systems, and with our university system with sponsored accounts, the money travels differently than it once did. And so we need to work that out so that that funding stays here. So while you willing to do certain things and help with that, but as you get new processes in place, the university has processes for grants and contracts, and so we have to be pretty diligent to make sure that we meet all those contractual agreements, which is supplying the reports and all of that. But the main thing is the structure and making sure that that money stays in Otero County is
Okay.
my first priority. So we'll be working back with,
Okay, with Pamela and Julianne, yeah.
so.
Yeah. All right, okay, thank
Thank
you so
you.
much.
Thank you, Cal. Thanks, Cal.
The counseling center,
Good morning.
good morning.
Thank you for allowing us to come and speak, and I'm going to be real brief because the Counseling Center, as many of you know, has been in the community for over 51 years, providing services in Otero and Lincoln County. But most of you are new faces and probably don't know how CAP, Community Alternative Placement, came about, and so I thought I would spend a little time doing that. Jim Corlin, our former CEO, and I currently am now the CEO, and this is Michelle Harrell, and she is our COO now, presented many times for the county. The Community Alternative Placement Program is a program solely funded by the county, and I think most of you might want to hear why. Approximately 13 years ago, we were approached by the county detention facility because approximately $330,000 was going out of this county to provide beds for juveniles in detention. That included the transportation and bringing back and forth by the sheriff's department or whomever, and paying for beds in other counties. And it had gotten to the point where it was extremely expensive. So they approached the counseling center to come up with an alternative situation for those kids that may have been lower level and less dangerous, in order to find some way to deal with it financially as well as within our community. And so we were approached. Jim and I came up with a program to provide for the county, at a much lesser rate, as well as saving the county a great deal of money. And I think if you look back at the expense that has been over the last 13, 14 years, you'll see a considerable decrease as a result of having an alternative within this community. Initially, we serviced the JPO's office and the courts specifically at a high number of clients coming in, being referred. We had kids on conditions of release who were just coming out of facilities that needed a higher level of supervision, and largely due to not having parents or someone to supervise them in the home, and needing an extra level of supervision, in which we did that. As time has gone by, we see an increase in issues coming from kids now, especially after COVID, and a lot of that is coming from referrals from Alamogordo Public Schools, and kids who are not adjusting, who are having issues. If you have your finger on the pulse of what's going on in this community, you'll understand that youth is struggling at large. And so we have rearranged things in order to kind of morph into what the community needs when it needs it. And so we do have and do take kids who the schools reach out to us from, who are going to be placed on an extended out-of-school suspension or expulsion. And we work on a plan with the schools as well as the JPOs to provide a day placement for them in our CAP program, to work on their schoolwork, to work on life skills, anger management, to assist them in getting to and from where they need to get in terms of counseling or appointments. And so that's a little history of how and why having an alternative placement is necessary for our community. The Counseling Center obviously provides a number of services, and when we see something or we have kids that are not in counseling or not in support services or family services, we can actually address that in-house with those families and those kids as well. However, if they have appointments outside the Counseling Center, obviously the CAP program provides transportation to and from the day programming, which is necessary in a supervised situation. The only difference in terms of what was requested this year was we also have for many years provided a home detention component to the juvenile program that we provide. However, things have changed in the juvenile justice system, and so that home detention, which was an additional layer of supervision once the kid leaves our day programming, or kids on probation need an additional layer of supervision, we would make calls or face checks after our curfew. The juvenile justice system was changed drastically over the last 5 years. There is not a curfew situation in place any longer for juveniles who are on probation or informal probation. And so we felt, since we're seeing a uptake in our day placement, it was more effective and useful to us to cease doing home detention, so we didn't write for home detention this year. And that money has dwindled down over the years, but to take what we were receiving and add that to our alternative placement program, because it is pretty hefty in terms of the intensity of the kind of issues that the kids are having. The numbers may ebb and flow. However, what really is going on is the intensity and the severity of what the kids are dealing with. We've had a number of issues with kids, and the whole issue around bringing in weapons. We're dealing with just drugs. We're dealing with all kinds of things that were few and far between before, even though we had a higher number of kids, because we just had a huge influx. However, What we're seeing is more issues, more need for additional supports and services, and more supervision during the day. Many of these kids, you do not want them unsupervised in the community when they're out of school or not in school or whatever. And so that's the program in which CAP provides to the population of youth who are either at risk or or directly in the juvenile justice system today. And I'll let Michelle share some information as well.
Thank you for letting us be here today. The other part that I think is so important is that with the relationship we have with Alamogordo Public Schools, we're looking at a group of young people who would be either long-term suspension or would just be expelled from school and would lose a whole year of schooling. By them being referred to the CAP program, they're still earning their credits. They're still getting education in a different way. And we have a wonderful young lady who runs our CAP program, Ms. Vera, who is the patience of Job. She is the
Amen to that.
perfect person to have there. She is unflustered, and unless you know her well, she's got a couple little tells that if you start seeing those, you're like, okay, let me walk in here and see what's going on. But she establishes an immediate connection with all of the young people in this program and helps them through schoolwork, through relationships, through family issues. Because we don't just focus in on the education. The counseling center, I've been there for 22 years now. And one of the most important things we have always had with our young people is if you don't establish a rapport and build trust, then they're not going to do the programming. So for us, that's the most important thing. And Miss Vera does that beautifully. We don't just work on education, but we also take those teachable moments to work on coping skills, relationships, healthy relationships. Because as much as we love our community, there's a darker side of our community a lot of people don't know about, and we see each and every day. And our kids are struggling. COVID did a number on them as far as relationship and connection, but also what they see as healthy is the exact opposite. What they allow themselves to become involved in is leading them down a path that's going to get them hurt. And so for them to be able to have people in their lives who model behavior, who treat them with respect, who call them by their name, and who will listen, lets them know that they are heard. And that's another part of what the CAP program does and does well, is letting people, young people, and their parents and guardians know that it's a safe place. And when you have young people who have completed the program and either returned back to school or successfully completed their time that they had with us on probation or whatever their court order was, who a month later or 6 months later or a year later still come back and say, hey, I wanted to let you know I passed my class. Or, hey, miss, I got my GED. Those are what we celebrate, and that's why we do what we do.
How many kids do you normally have there?
We can have a max of 8 in day programming, 8 in day programming and 8 in afternoon. So we could have a max of 16, but depending on the young people that are in there.
And their issues.
And their issues, we try to keep it about 5 or 4 depending on what's going on. And we work very closely with the JPO to make sure we don't have rivals in at the same time or co-defendants.
Yeah,
It's kind of a chess match. You move one here and you move another one there. And if we have 2 or 3 referred at the same time, they don't all come in together. We put them in one at a time because one changes the whole group dynamics. And so kind of see how things are going to settle and then you bring another one in. And work with the families on, is this young person someone who does better in the morning or does better in the afternoon? And we take all the information to come up with a plan that's going to be in the young person's best interest. Not what's going to be easiest, because none of this is easy, but what's going to be best for them.
The need to maintain a staff to client ratio is small because of the intensity of the issues that are being dealt with. The CAP room in which the kids are, the school has provided the Chromebooks so schoolwork can be done. Wendy communicates regularly with the schools in terms of the school part, whether the kid is referred from for expulsion or whatever, or whether it's a direct JPO or court referral. And so, you know, maintaining all of the issues surrounding that kid or those kids is necessary to keep a small ratio. CAP is been funded in order to make sure there is the availability for these kids. Plain and simple, whether there is 1 or 12 at a time, that's how it was written initially, that's how it's maintained. And so while numbers ebb and flow for us, depending on what's going on with kids in our community, it is the availability to have a kid light in CAP once the judge says you're going to CAP, once the JPO say you're going to CAP, or once the expulsion hearing says you're going to CAP. And they understand it's necessary to maintain a ratio that is safe for everyone. And I want to emphasize safe. That room is wired, and there are cameras on it all the time. We have a specific routine on how things are done, from picking up kids to dropping off kids to working with kids, in order to make sure everybody maintains a safe and healthy environment. It is a valuable tool in this community. At this point, I don't think our community realizes how important it is to provide these kids someplace to be during the daytime, period. And while there's many, many wonderful things in our community that we encourage kids to get involved with that are positive, you do have a population of kids who are in the juvenile justice system who are struggling and who will not, and or for whatever reason, participate in some of those things. And once they have to come to CAP, then it begins the process of helping them see there are other things. There are different ways to do things, to deal with things, and there are people there to support in the system in exiting the community, the juvenile justice system, and or preventing them from entering further in the juvenile justice system.
And to plant those seeds.
Yeah.
That we get to water, that sometimes we never see come to fruition, but
Until
they've been
years
planted.
later. Yeah. And so that's mainly what I wanted to share. Many of you are new faces, and so I didn't know if you understood how we came about and why, and the importance of providing an alternative that's financially feasible for our community, for our county, to provide services for those youth who are struggling. We, at the Counseling Center, see an uptake on not just kids, especially in the substance issue, and we are attempting to find funding to provide some real specific stuff for the amount of fentanyl and marijuana use that's peaked in many ways. And so we seek many grants and stuff, but the one positive thing about the county and this program is it is there. It is funded specifically to do exactly what it's doing, and our reputation and the figures let you know that it does work, because the county is not and has not spent the kind of funds that they have in the past, having to house kids outside this county, because there's no juvenile facility, and there are fewer juvenile facilities in the state now, and so it's become unnecessary of to make sure our kids are safe and make sure our community at large is safe as well.
What kind of security do you have?
Well, we have many staff who lay eyes on periodically.
And I mean security for your staff.
Well,
For your teachers.
we're actually working on funding right now to secure that. When we came back into our large building on 10th Street, we had panic buttons throughout the building. We had safety buttons and everything, and they disappeared. So we're at the point right now that we are working on getting panic buttons in place again, looking at potentially even some security outside and around the building as well as the door. Our doors are bulletproof and everything, but time has changed. And we are working on getting a active shooter training as well inside our building. That's a major maze if you've ever been to that building that we have. It's huge, and it's, you know, it's cause for concern for us. And so one of the main issues right now, we're looking for funding and grants to move forward and get things secure with more cameras and more stuff. We've had a lot of vandalism on our vans as well, which transport clients. Yeah, and that's eating our pocket. But yeah, it's not something we're going to give up on. It's something that we just need to raise money to make sure that we can keep everybody safe, staff and clients.
And there are eyes on at all times when young people are in the CAP room.
Yeah.
Wendy's in there with them. I have a monitor in my office. Miss Catherine Cavazos has a monitor in her office. So one of us always has eyes on.
And typically kids.
And people walk by.
And there are staff that if, let's say a kid needs to go to the restroom and Wendy's working with the kid, what happens is that someone escorts that kid. So a staff will come and escort that kid to the restroom to that extent. And so, yeah.
And you might work with the sheriff's office on that active shooter. I mean, they've got a lot of knowledge over there. And
Yeah,
they'll
we
probably
have
help you a
reached
lot.
out to Alamogordo Public Safety. They are supposed to be getting back to us, but I will reach out to the sheriff's office as
Yeah.
well.
And I bet they'd be happy to help you with that, give you some.
Yeah, and we want a real
ideas.
specific one because that, like I said, that building is huge and it's a maze, and so.
Lots of little cubbies to hide.
Yeah,
in.
an entrance into the building.
One of the conversations with the schools been with the new build in place, having a health department inside every school now, and also removing parental consent for certain things. How is that going to come into play starting January or July 1st?
We have not had a specific discussion with APS in regards to that yet. I do know that they are willing and wanting to work directly with the counseling center on a number of the issues, as well as, I mean, we receive a number of crisis issues from the school regularly coming into play and sending kids. And those number of crises have increased, and so for us, coming from the schools.
Dramatically
Yeah.
increased.
It's,
And getting younger and younger.
yeah, it is younger and younger.
Schools are one to take control of this and keep it.
Well, as far as the mental health part, I don't see that it's gonna be any major change, because the school seeks to stabilize and refer in the behavioral health area. The behavioral health area, I think they will continue to outsource that, because they have to, first of all, offer the option. Every person in any behavioral health agency or organization has the right and the option to choose where they want to go. And so I think that keeps them from saying, yeah, we're going to do it all here. That's not, it's my understanding it's not their intent is in regards to the behavioral health portion. They'd put a lot of things in place that are positive. However, I don't think, it's not my thought or experience with them in our discussions that they're trying to hold on to the behavioral health part too tightly because of many reasons. And yeah, I don't really have a lot of concern in regards to that. They are doing the medical health part, most definitely, and trying to put those things in place. But we'll see. I don't know. And again, we're willing to ebb and flow and bend and do what we need to in order to do what we feel is helpful and supportive to this community and the people in this community, so, yeah.
It's too bad that we couldn't use that newly developed system to put you inside the schools.
Well, they do, we actually do go inside. We are a few people that are authorized to go into and provide services in-house. And that may be a discussion we have later on. However, they are very much wanting CAP as an option, because when their kids are removed from school, what happens and where do they go? And they're coming back. And so you want kids to try to make some improvement to maybe secure more stability for these kids coming back, because they're coming back and they'll still have to deal with them.
And for the most part, the school has been very good about getting the work into the system, into the computer system for the kiddos to work on, so that they're not just sitting there going, well, none of my teachers have any work for me to do, so I'm getting further and further and further behind. So we've been able to stop part of that so that they may not be fully on track with their classes, but they're close enough to where when it comes to midterms and finals, they can do it. And learning about sometimes you just have to power through. And learning how to ask for help has been tremendous in CAP, because you have kids coming in going, and then when you have one that says, Miss, can you bet I can. That shows growth, and that shows a willingness to comply, and that's a huge step for our young people.
Sure appreciate you guys. It's not an easy job.
No,
I
it
got
is.
one more question.
Sure.
Are you, on the counseling center, are you with the home detention part too?
So the home detention is a contract that we had with the county before. We did not write for home detention intentionally. One is because the changes in the juvenile justice system, there is no curfew required for juveniles on probation or any of that anymore. So checking the kids will not be necessary, because there is no standard or no requirement for curfew. So those kids who would have been referred to us or are referred to us, come July 1, we will no longer do home detention, because it's not necessary.
I just wondered if it was blank for us.
Yeah, we didn't do it. We asked that those funds that were in home detention be moved to CAP in order to deal with the increase of what we're dealing with. We are looking at the need, whether it's going to be something that we have to add staff actually to. Right now we're able to utilize the staff that we have, but from time to time it's like, okay, given what we're seeing, do we need to ask staff? I think because the schools have utilized us a lot more than ever, I'll be asking them, to be honest with you, because I think that's only fair, to be real, yeah. All right. Thank you.
Thank you all so much.
Dia de Tularosa?
I'm sorry. I have you at, you're Rusty, right? I have you at 10:50.
Morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
My name is Gil Mendez. Good morning, ma'am. My name is Gil Mendez with Tierra del Sol Housing Corporation, and I'm here for Villa de Tularosa Senior Housing Incorporated. The mission of Villa de Tularosa Senior Housing is to provide elderly and persons with disabilities with housing and supportive social services to meet their physical and social and psychological needs in order to promote their health, security, happiness, and a good quality of life. Last year, we received, in about June, July, we received a grant to repair the roof for Villa de la Rosa apartments and clean the sewer lines. The work was done, came out beautiful, has a 5-year warranty, workman's warranty, and it has a 20-year manufacturer warranty for that roof. It was inspected by the state inspectors, and the manufacturer also inspected the roof. The reason for this grant application is that the funds will be used to pay for a change order for work not part of the initial construction contract. During the construction, it was discovered that under the surface of the roofing system required replacement. In other words, the sheeting was all rotted. So a change order was executed to prove the removal and replacement of the decking to a solid sheeting per code. And installed 18 6/8 adjustable vents and installed 17 turbine vents and repair the fascia were needed. This is the reason for this change order. Now, the amount of funding requested, it states $3,677.25. The actual balance for the change order is $3,410.70. There was a typo here. So the change order was to remove and replace all the rotted decking. And on the last page, the last 2 pages of the application, you can see pictures of what I'm talking about. The sewer lines came out beautiful, and like I said, the roof came out amazing. It was something new, which I've never seen before. That kind of work done. I mean, that kind of materials and work done in my life. And I'm a contractor. I'm like, wow. And that's the reason for this grant application to pay for the change order that was submitted to the apartments.
And why was this was unforeseen change order?
Unforeseen, yes, sir. This was unforeseen. We didn't find out about it until the initial roof was removed and discovered that all the wood was rotted.
Have you already paid for the change order?
We haven't paid for it. We haven't paid for the change order.
Has all the work already been completed?
Yes, sir. Final inspections have been done. We have all the paperwork for the 5-year workman's warranty, and we have all the paperwork from the manufacturer for the 20-year warranty.
Commissioners, as you consider this request, I need to reach out to Mortgage Finance Authority and ask some questions. Questions I probably should ask last year, but I didn't know to. When we were looking at this last year, I spoke with attorney at DFA and outlined what was requested, and he believed it was good to go as far as the anti-donation clause. And based on that, I didn't tell you not to do this. Since then, looking at it for this year, I found a clause in the anti-donation provision, and for this type of project, it's the specific exception, and it's covered by Mortgage Finance Authority, and it would fall under affordable housing, and that is allowable, but there's of course a process, and it would require us to pass an ordinance and do a affordable housing study for the county, and Mortgage Finance Authority assists with all this, and once that's in place, we can approve projects like this by going through their process. It still has to have their involvement. Last year we didn't do that, obviously, so I'm going to reach out to them with my hat in my hand and beg forgiveness and explain. But for this change order, I'd want to see if they were good, and I think they may be good with it just being done without going through that whole process, and then we initiate that process. Before you make the final decision, I'll reach out to them and get info on this.
So this contract was strictly through the Village of Tula Rosa Housing?
Yes, sir.
Nothing with the county? There was no, even if we were to do the funding, it wouldn't be till July, and if the job's done, I didn't want to lean put against the county for something. The county had no tie to it?
We didn't contract the services. They were not through us, no. And Julianne just wants me to mention that this was funded through ARPA last year.
Well, that actually changes the calculus for last year. Since it was ARPA funding.
She states ARPA allowed payments for housing.
Yeah, that's fine.
So you don't have to beg for forgiveness, you just gotta figure out this.
Yeah. Do we have any of that money
I believe all
left?
of our ARPA funding is obligated, if I recall.
Okay.
Correct, Kathy? I believe so.
Well, that's good on one point, so. But I'll reach out and get an answer. They've reached out to us about a project in the county that they want to fund, and it is more than this cost. So based on that, they should be open to, maybe they'll fund it even. So we'll see.
Thank you very much.
So we're gonna wait for the decision from MFA in July. You got it, man. When can I get a copy of the minutes for this?
The minutes?
Yes, for today.
They'll be posted online in a week.
You got it. Commissioners, everybody, thank you. Have a nice day.
Okay, fairgrounds?
Morning, Commissioners. I'm Dean Hackett. I'm the chairman of the Fair Association. I have with me Sheila, who's our vice chair, and Beth Lucero, who's our secretary. As you guys well know, the Fair Association has been around. This will be our 84th year. So we had 3 years, 2 years during World War II that we did not have a fair, and COVID we didn't have a fair. So there was 3 years added in there. We're a nonprofit organization that we've served the community for that many years, and our last fair we had a little over 50,000 visitors come through. Throughout the rest of the year we have several different organizations coming through our fairgrounds that we rent out or have free. 4-H, the 4-H event is probably one of the
bigger ones.
Biggest. They're in every week at least. There's something going on with 4-H there, from shooting sports to horsemanship. We were going to try to piggyback with extension earlier, but there was a few went between us. So, but no, that they come out every year or during every month and utilize the facilities. We have other organizations, the sheriff's office, city police. They come out and do their different types of stuff throughout the year with their dogs. Then they do different trainings throughout the facility. We have master gardeners who are there monthly. They do several meetings there. What else?
So one of my big deals is on this bathroom.
Yes.
So is this the one between the Wade building and the fence?
Yes.
Yeah.
So what are we doing on that?
So we've been kind of propping it up for years.
Kicking the can down the road.
Yes. We had a little issue last year, 2 years ago with the water pressure. We didn't have any water pressure in there, so we were able to up the water pressure. Well, I don't know if that helped or hurt, but the plumbing in that facility is it's horrible. And it's the old, I guess that clay style plumbing, does that sound right? I can't remember exactly what it is, but yeah, it's pretty bad, and it's got a chaseway down the center of it that all this plumbing is in. I suspect, just from what we've talked to the different plumbers that we've talked to, all that's gonna have to be kind of torn out and replaced. All that plumbing is gonna have to be redone. We just went through, was it last year or the year before, that we got funding from this same venue to be able to put a roof on that building? So it's got a really nice roof on it, but so to be able to redo the whole thing, it is ADA compliant, but to just go back and redo all that plumbing has just gotten so expensive because of the way the building is setting and the way the plumbing is. It's going to take a lot of digging out, I guess.
And just the age of the plumbing. And the problem is we have a new set of bathrooms, the pavilion bathrooms, but those have actually kind of been a nightmare because they don't have good water pressure either. And so we really depend on these bathrooms. If these are out of service, then we'll have the pavilion bathrooms that are at best, a couple people can use at a time, and then the Wade bathrooms, and then the new one, redoing the ones in the barn, but those, we're gonna be losing stalls to make those ADA compliant. So we'll be down on bathrooms for all these events if we don't get this fixed.
You already got some quotes on this?
Yes.
And you're still gonna use the exact same building?
Yes.
You're just going and re-plumbing it all?
It's the same footprint, it's just replumbing it. Like I said, they're gonna have to take some concrete out and some interior walls to be able to get to that plumbing, to redo it.
There's not a chase in the middle of that?
There is a chase, but they're gonna, just to get to some of the other stuff, they're gonna have to take some of that out.
$120,000 on plumbing that's a lot of money.
Well, they'll be doing, the plumbing, and then, they'll be putting new stalls
All new
in
fixtures
and
and stalls.
fixtures and doing the whole 9 yards.
Cause we did bought new fixtures, new flush valves and everything 2, 3 years ago whenever.
Not in those bathrooms.
The one that Donald Plumbing did, that was a long story, but they didn't ever get paid for like 4 months, and then they come and.
Oh, I
moved.
remember.
Oh,
I
yeah.
remember. Yeah. Yeah, but it wasn't all new fixtures. They're all old. There's no new fixtures in there. I'm not sure what it is. I can pull that bill. I'll have Jessica pull that bill.
That
It
may,
was all the flush valves that operate.
that may have been when they added that pressure tank in there also.
Mhm. It was when they added that pressure tank in there. So, but, I mean, for me, that's my main concern is, you know, you have all these people come for these events. We're also the Emergency Evacuation Center for Otero County. If we needed to use it for that, we need to have bathrooms.
Here's another, that falls under capital outlay again. For bathrooms and. Again, it's just about what line item you wanna put it in our budget, it's coming from the same place.
And then we also got the estimate on the RV dump. So we put that in there as well, just so you guys knew what it would cost to be able to keep that RV dump.
Winter, yeah, maybe use that water, $1 a gallon or whatever.
Yes.
That'll keep some of our area contractors from coming and filling up their big tanks on our dime.
Any more questions? Mr. Contractor?
So were they all pretty comparable on those bids? I'm just kinda.
Yeah. Yeah, they were. It's that, I think too, part of that plumbing is, isn't it metal too? Like some of it is, not galvanized. Cast.
Yeah.
Some of it's cast. And it just presents a problem of them ripping it all out and, you know, and by the way, the Wade building bathrooms have given us problems too, because when they put the new building in, they used the old plumbing. And so we had, was it Darnell Plumbing that put the
scope?
They put the scope down there. And so that old sewer line has, like,
It's a low spot now.
there's a low spot now, like it's settled. And he said it could be leaking, but, so we have issues there. And the only way to fix that is gonna be to tear that all out.
Yeah.
So that, you know, the facility, things like that, you know, we just need maintenance with, it's the age of the building.
Any more questions? Any questions? Okay, all right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you
We
very much.
appreciate
What
it.
you do.
Thank you for your time.
Yeah.
Quick break?
Yeah.
We're gonna take a quick break. Keep Tularosa Beautiful's next. That you, okay.
Thank you.
Ready? Okay, all right. Tularosa Beautiful.
Yes, my name is Rusty Helton, or Alfred Helton, and I'm the director for Keep Tularosa. Turn it this way. That way. I'm the director for Keep Tularosa Beautiful. One of the things I guess our mission statement is we encourage residents to get involved, join in community cleanups, beautification projects, and improving the quality of life in the village. And we try to get everybody to work together. What we've done so far is, I've only been here in Tularosa since June of 2021. We've had 5 village cleanups, and we've collected 4 roll-off dumpsters of trash, which is approximately 387 40-gallon trash bags. Amy's volunteered. I've seen her out there picking up trash with us a lot. And it's kind of weird. You sit there and you clean for 4 hours, and then there's still more. It's like, I can't believe people throw that much stuff on the ground. But and when we bring in we have the cleanups, we also have Ralph Murphy from Allou's bring in dumpsters so that people can do bulk pickups. And we have those in Tularosa for a week. We have 2 at the village facility, and then 2 over by First National Bank. And then I have to monitor them, make sure that people actually put the trash in the dumpster, because a lot of times, every day I go over there and I pick up a couch, put it in there, whatever. It seems like since I've moved to Tularosa, if there's anything that comes up that needs to be done, they call me. I didn't realize, I'm not getting paid for this, but I've been called to fix water leaks. I've been called to pull trees out of the median like 3 times. I just go ahead and do it. I figure out a way to do it, and I get it done. We also had a local artist, Justin, put a mural there at the only stoplight in Tularosa. It's right there on your right-hand side of Higuera and St. Francis.
That looks pretty.
Yeah, and I put in solar lights there to illuminate it at night, so when people go through, they know where they're at. When I said there's people call me for everything, I've had people call me I've built 2 wheelchair ramps for people, basically out of my own money and doing stuff. They couldn't get it worked out to where they could get their wheelchair into their trailer house or their house. And so I built those, and we use the money from Keep Tularosa Beautiful to do it. I'd like to say what we want to do is we want to finish up the medians and get the plants. We're all trying to alternate the roses that are still alive and from the previous planting. I'm trying to maintain roses in those flower beds. The other rose beds, the other flower beds, we're going to put native plants, cactus, Apache plumes, yuccas. And what I've been doing is I've been growing those at my own house. When they come up with little yuccas, I put them in a pot and take them and plant them. We're trying to expand the recycling program there in Tularosa too. They've got the recycling yard just on the other side of the park by Lowe's. What they have, I guess, all the signs and stuff of what recycled item goes where has disappeared. So they wrote it on there with the marks a lot, and I can't even read it. And I went over there the other day to put cardboard in the thing, and somebody had stolen the sign. So they're throwing trash in the cardboard. Yeah. So I would like to get that fixed. I also like to fix it to where I could take my trailer around and pick up people's recycling and then take it over there and put it in the appropriate dumpster or recycle bin. We're also trying to get trash receptacles for Granado. I bought one, we've got it there chained because somebody stole the other one, right there on Main Street, and it gets filled up. I empty it 4 times a week myself. We'd like to get something that looks a little better instead of a aluminum trash, one aluminum trash can, because we like to have 3 for the whole street because that's not adequate. Some of the people that we've worked with on our projects are Bill Farmer with Otero County Cleanup. He helps me every time we do this. He brings the dumpsters, brings the trash bags. I work with Josh Sides from Keep Alamogordo Beautiful. He's been lending me the little grabbers because most of the people that come out and help us are my age or older, and I'm 64, so it's hard to bend over and more than once or twice. Susan and Tim Flores, they used to have Keep Turos Beautiful here, and they've been really instrumental in helping me get set up and everything. Ralph Murphy from Leluz, he brings the dumpsters in, and a couple times we've had people go out to the dumpsters and leave so much that it would take me and 3 volunteers. It took us 3 hours to pick all the stuff up and put them on trailers and take them to his trash place. And we were wore out, so he went over there with pickers, picked things up and put them in the appropriate place because people were lazy, I guess. They just kind of throw. We're working on that. We're trying to get it all taken care of. Let's see, Judge Billy Arteaga and his family have been helping us out. And I've had Aaron Lewis with the New Mexico Department of Transportation. He's helped me. Apparently there's height restrictions on the medians as far as what can be planted, how high it can be, everything else. He's happy because I'm keeping the medians clean. I'm pulling the weeds, picking up trash, whatever. Every time I go out there and water, I water currently, right now I'm just watering once a week. I put 700 gallons of water out there on 52 of our beds. And I do that by hand right now. I bought a pump. Hopefully my wife will drive it around and I'll be able to water using the pump, so that should speed it up because it takes approximately 2 days, 4 hours a day to do that. And then I'm picking up 5-gallon buckets of water, walking across a busy street, watering them. And we gotta speed that up a little bit. I've been lucky because several of the ranchers and citizens that live outside Tularosa have been volunteering. They've been donating their water. They have water wells. So I go over there and fill up, alternate, so I don't hit the same people all the time. And so I go over there 4 times a week, fill up my 300-gallon container, and water the roses. We've worked with Chase Montez and the FFA kids. They helped me get about 2/3 of the beds in shape as far as pulling the dead rose bushes out, the broken beds, loading those up, putting new beds out for the cactus. So I'm trying to work more and more with the schools because a lot of the people that live in Tularosa, they're good at volunteering, but they can't do it for very long because it's like my neighbors that they're 93 years old. There's a limit to what they can do. So I'm trying to engage the kids, get them in the right mind. Something that I talked to Chase with yesterday was I'm a beekeeper, and we've got several of the master beekeepers that are in the area. We're going to teach beekeeping to the FFA kids and hopefully get them involved with it. So I guess that's it.
You know, I've worked with Bill Farmer on several different deals in Chaparral, Dog Canyon, Bowles Acres. You might visit with him, and he's really good about taking out dumpsters, find a location somewhere, and you can move the dumpsters around. And it seems that the dumpsters are there, people have a tendency to bring a lot of their trash, and he keeps an eye on them, or if they get filled up, you call him, tell him, and he'll bring another one. But he's been very good at working with that, and we've had good results on that too. Even though you're not having a cleanup maybe that weekend,
Yeah.
but if you have the tendency to, if it's an easy spot for them to get to and they can dump, instead of going out the old Thule dump road or out by the railroad track somewhere.
Radio Road, whatever, yeah.
So stay with Bill on that, and like I say, we've had good progress, good success.
I'm
doing it
impressed
with
with
the
him
other
because
place.
I always get to whatever I'm doing 30 or 40 minutes early so I can get set up and get everything going. Every time except for one, he's beat me there. He's got all the stuff, and he drives by. We pick all the trash up from where everybody's picking up. Usually has a pickup dumpster there, a roll-off dumpster there, and I couldn't ask for any more. In fact, I wrote a letter of recommendation to his boss. I was like, man, you got to keep this guy because he's a very hard worker.
Yeah, but if you, like I say, if you can get it in a central area where it can be seen good,
Yeah.
that's the main thing. Let the people see it. They'll use it.
It was right there by the post office, First National. I was like, we even had a thing, we were gonna put a camera, but we said we had a camera. We didn't have a camera, but we said we're gonna put it, so please put the trash in the, and I couldn't even drive in there because there was stuff everywhere.
Yeah.
I was like, it's right there. Just turn around and put it in. It's not that hard.
Dirty clothes
Yeah.
basket's right
Right.
here, you throw it that way. If you
It's
want
like-
me to shank you, just do that at my
Yeah,
house.
I was like, gosh.
Does Thule help you with anything, any of the expenses, the roses, or?
I've been working with Richard a lot. He's the facilities manager in Tula Rosa. In fact, he's up until there's not a shutoff valve for the city of Tula Rosa's facilities department. The water's there's no way to turn the water off that goes into that place. I couldn't believe that. I was like, so what happens if you get a water, something bust? How are you gonna turn it off? You don't. You just let water shoot. So their faucet, you can't turn it on. And so I for a while there, for the first 6 months I did it, I got water there at the facilities yard. But now you can't turn it on, you can't turn it off because the knob's broke and they don't have a way to shut the water off to go in there and fix it. Because I told them I would fix it. I don't have a problem. But anyway, he donated the container that I'm using on my trailer for the water, and I bought a fire hose, so I go around with the fire hose and use gravity to water. But I was like, how could you be in charge of everybody's water and not have a way to shut it off? It's kind of mind-boggling.
So are you gonna buy more roses? It looks like you've got 85 rose plants. Are you gonna put them in the median?
Yes, I've already bought 12 out of my own pocket, and I'm gonna plant. In fact, when I leave here, I have to go change clothes and go water because it's time to water this week. I've already dug the holes. What I do is I dig the holes 28 inches deep. I fill them with water and let the water seep down and into the ground, and that promotes deep roots. I've had very good success with doing that. One of our master gardeners, told me about it, but Billy Ardiega, I hope I'm pronouncing his name, Ardiega, his secretary is lending me the auger, and that's what I use to do the holes, because I was using a post hole digger, and that just takes forever. Plus, like I say, I'm kind of old. I get tired easy.
Well, Tula Rosa used to be called City of Roses.
Yeah.
And they had the rose festival up there and the Rose Parade and all that stuff. I miss those days.
I'm trying to bring it back,
Yeah,
so,
well, good. All right. Any
thank you.
questions?
All right, thank you very much.
Y'all have any
Thank you.
questions? Yeah.
Thank you very much.
If somebody wanted to donate roses to you, how would they get in contact with you?
I've got my number and everything with the Becca, the city secretary, and they just contacted me through her. They've been giving my number out right and left, so I'm sure they won't have a problem.
Well, and it's on this paperwork.
Yeah.
So now we'll be calling you.
No, that's fine.
That's what you need, somebody else calling you.
If the tree is, they had me pull out a 15-foot tree, and I was burning rubber with my truck trying to pull it out with a chain. I was like, this ain't working.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Okay, Dog's Breath Express.
Figured you were gonna bring a whole litter of puppies.
Oh, we would love to do
There's no
that.
way.
We should. Tempting puppies.
Because he's distracted, I can just love on the puppy while I listen.
Good morning, I'm Buddy Granari, and I'm the director of Dog Breath Express. We are a nonprofit, a 501c3 rescue. We are strictly voluntary. We only get our money through donations and grants, private grants. We've only had a couple of those as well. And just really to give you an idea of what we do, what our mission is, we were founded in 2015, and the mission is just to alleviate the overpopulation of animals in our county. I'm sure everybody here has probably seen stray dogs, stray cats, so it's a big problem, but we're trying to do the best we can to try to alleviate that. Also, I should have introduced Lori Burke, because she's on the board of directors for our rescue, and Lori has more of a interest or more of a expertise on the finances that we have for our different programs. So I'll let Lori talk from now.
Well, I'm just here to kind of answer questions, if y'all got anything for us. Dog Breath Express has been directly responsible for saving lives at our shelter. I'm an employee of the county animal shelter. And Dog Breath Express, on his own dime, on the donations that he receives through Dog Breath Express, has transported animals from our facility over the last few years. 2021, he transported 559 dogs. And 2022, he transported 457. And year-to-date, so far, he's done 127. Now, we're down this year because a lot of the facilities in the country are full too. So when they open up space, they call us. We take, we used to take like 12 to 15 dogs at a time. We're taking like 6 to 8 dogs now. But every dog that we can get out of our facility is a dog that we've saved and got onto a no-kill transport and taken them to a facility that will. Some of the dogs need socialization skills, some of the dogs need training, and then they take them from there and adopt them out at their facilities.
Where is this facility located?
Dog Breath Express does not have a facility. He works as a volunteer through the shelter, through the county shelter, so he does not have his own facility.
And you'll never have your own facility?
No, unless I can get the money for it. If I did, it would be great, because then we could take dogs that are from the county shelter that's overcrowded, and we actually would have a place for them to be before we do the transport. In that way, more dogs will survive, more cats will survive, because the county, it's a municipal shelter. They are constantly getting filled up with dogs and cats. They could become a no-kill shelter, and then what happens? There's going to be more and more animals at the facility, and more strays, and people not being able to surrender their dogs and cats. So it would help really in big time to alleviate the overcrowding there.
I can give you a quick overview on how Dog Breath Express works. Buddy comes in on a daily basis, and he works with all the dogs in the facility, puppies, cats, whatever needs to be worked with. He assesses them. We have a on-staff volunteer, I shouldn't say on-staff, she's a volunteer. She's a certified dog trainer and behavioralist. And what she does is that she helps work with Buddy, and they assess the dog's sociability skills, adoptability skills, and they pair him up with other dogs at the facility, so they kind of get a sense of what the dog's like. And then they contact the rescues, and they tell the rescues, we have these dogs here. Some dogs go to dog-specific rescues, like German Shepherd rescues, Husky rescues, Labrador Retriever rescues. Some dogs go to a multi-dog facility. So he comes in, they assess the dogs, and they contact the facilities. They say, we got this many dogs, they're this good, here's the pictures of them, here's the videos of them. And they say, we'll take this dog, this dog, this dog. So they send us a list of dogs that they are interested in taking to their facility. And then Dog Breath Express turns around, gets those dogs vetted, ready for transport. Some transports have to meet a long line of veterinary requirements. Some of them have to, it's a short list. So whatever that rescue requires for the dogs to be transported to their facility, Dog Breath Express gets those dogs vetted on their dime, gets them ready for transport, and then the day of transport, they load them up in their vans, on their own dime, in their own vans, and transports them to the facilities that they're going to. Go ahead.
So the dogs you've been hauling so far, if they have to be spayed or neutered or whatever, you're paying for that out of your pocket? To take
Yes,
it
sir.
to
Well, out
where-
of donations that we get.
Yes, but out of Dog Breath Express. Dog Breath Express gets donations. One of the facilities that we're dealing with right now, they give us a donation on a regular basis, and it varies, whatever their donations income coming in. They split up amongst the people that they deal with, and they give us a donation back. So some of the dogs, not all the dogs that go are spayed or neutered. Some of them just have to be, some of the dogs they require just to have rabies shots. All of them have to have rabies to transport, and all of them have to have health certificates to be transported. Some of them have to have heartworm tests, and some of them have to be spayed and neutered. It depends on what that rescue requires. So we deal with the rescue and whatever their requirements are, and then we get them to meet those standards, and then we send them off. So some dogs, as little as $45 per dog for it to be on a transport. Some dogs as much as $170 if we have to spay or neuter them to get them on the transport to go. So whatever those costs are come out of Dog Breath Express's donations, and we get them vetted and we get them on the transports. Mm.
And you also help assist spay and neuter costs for those that can't afford it?
Yes, in 2022, we had a donation from a private individual of $10,000. And we took that money and we rolled it into a low-cost, no-cost spay neuter program, and Dog Breath Express was able to help the residents of Otero County in the amount of 169 animals get spayed and neutered out of that $10,000 donation. So that was what we do. We also help out with microchipping and parvo distemper and bordetella, because parvo distemper is really running rampant in Otero County, and if we can get on the dogs and get them vaccinated sooner rather than later, we can help keep that down also. So we also help with shots, the microchips, whatever we can help people with, we help them. Some of it's low cost, some of it's no cost. Whatever a person comes to us with, we try and help them. Some of them we have to just assist, and some of them we can pay the whole fees, depending on what the fees are.
Don't you guys actually, you're totally responsible for taking all the pictures of the dogs and putting them up on the Facebook page?
Yeah, we sure are.
And the videos. I
Yes.
mean, it's beautiful.
Dog Breath Express does a lot of volunteer work out there at the facility. They surely do.
So that everybody from home can see
Mhm.
all the dogs that come in that are new, you know, that are there and available.
Yep.
Yep.
And we keep on it just about every day now. We're really trying to do that because we've been getting a few more adoptions that way as well, local adoptions.
That's
by
how I
showing
adopted
it.
mine, thank you.
Sure thing. You want another one?
No. I could give those pictures. Yeah, don't worry. 7 dogs.
I'm good, I don't have any more.
Okay, all right, thank you so much
All right,
for coming in.
thank you.
Thank y'all for your time.
Okay, PVT, last man standing.
Glad you get a sit. I do have a PowerPoint if you want to put it on there, but we've got it on handouts too, and that may just work better. So, Abby, you want to get those out? Thank you. You're the chairman, right?
Excuse me?
Are you still the chairman? You're the chairman?
No, Vicky's
Okay,
the
you're
chairman.
in the- Okay, all right. That's what I thought. 'Cause you were- I did. I've got it on a jump drive if you want it. Well, Madam Chair, Commissioners, thank you for having us here today. And first thing I want to do is just commend you on the event Monday. That was something else. I was talking to several people in the industry about it, and the bar was set pretty high. I don't know. I had someone going to the one in Los Lunas, and they couldn't at the last minute. So I don't know what their turnout was. It didn't exceed this one, I'm sure. And you didn't get the legislators and all of that, I'm sure. I mean, that was a great event. That was better than most statewide events. So I hope they come back. One, it's convenient for us.
Yeah.
But,
Stomp my feet and make it happen.
that's right, yeah. No, the brochures about the community and everything on the table, boy, that was just right. But some of you I've talked to, I know I've talked to Pam over there too, but we're here just for a couple of reasons. One, to inform you what we're doing concerning broadband in the areas we serve in Otero County. But the other one is just to let you know of the challenges and see if maybe you can help us get kind of creative. There has been a precedent set in Sierra County where they did use some of their ARPA funds to overcome the challenges we're facing now with Sacred Wind Communications when they had a similar challenge. So there is a precedent for this, and so we're just talking to the county. We were up at Lincoln County, and generates a lot of broadband questions, especially with what's fresh on your mind about what all transpired Monday and what's to come. But anyways, let me just give you a quick background here on our company. Some of you aren't familiar because you don't live in our service area, and I think our entire service area is in Commissioner Marquardt's area. So, but this back in 1949, there was a group of folks that started a telephone cooperative, and they bought the Hope telephone system, and so that started PVT, which is a rural member-owned cooperative, and it all started back in '49 with the REA Act. When they were going to get telephone and power out to folks. But currently at PVT, our co-op area is about 5,000 square miles. And we have 2 incorporated areas within that 5,000 square miles. And that would be the town of Hope and the town of Lake Arthur. Everything else we serve is rural. And we have a population density of about 1 person per 2 square miles. So it's a tough place to serve. We also are a major, we're a major employer in southeast New Mexico. Just some of the accomplishments we've had on the next slide there. We've got about 1,100 miles of fiber optic cable. That would be great if it was for distribution, but it is for transmission. It connects electronic site to electronic site. And then the copper plant that was put in anywhere from the 60s to the 1980s is what distributes out. And so that's kind of limited on what it can provide for broadband.
So we also, we do have some coax plant in the Cloudcroft area and some in Twin Forks. We also do some wireless. So we have good experience with all of it, and really fiber's the way to go. And we gotta get fiber to the home. And until there's fiber to every home, that's what I keep telling the legislators, your constituents are gonna keep coming and asking you for money to do it. And so we've been after this for a little while, and but we do have some experience in all of those technologies. On the next slide, this is kind of where we serve in Otero County. So the shaded area would be our 6 telephone exchanges. So a good portion of our Mayhill exchange, that we call it, is in Otero County. And so it's it goes all the way south of Pinon, all the way borders the reservation to the north, and then goes to the Cloudcroft area, right to about the ski area. So we do 16 Springs, Robin Hood, Wimsett, Twin Forks, Hay Canyon, Sacramento, Pinon, and Weed, all of those rural areas. So we are currently providing the essential voice service, and we are providing broadband as well. Again, 99% of that is over the copper plant, so it is DSL. And y'all kind of got an education on that the other day. So just kind of the need, we all know the needs for, the needs for broadband. PVT, we participated in the free internet for the school children during that time. Our construction work orders nearly doubled, trying to get out the free internet. We complied with the FCC request to continue to offer that, to set up the community hotspots. And we've left the community hotspots on because we found out there's a need for them. And so one of the things we've kind of noticed is that, at least at Cloudcroft, they don't have snow days anymore. They have online days. And that works great. They don't miss school if you've got a decent internet connection. So we own the little store in Pinon, my wife and I. It's a nonprofit, but it becomes, on those days, that's where there's decent internet, and there's people traveling 20 miles to get there to do their schoolwork. And we set up a place inside where they can do it. But some places, I mean, they're just sitting in a car all day doing their schoolwork. But with the post-pandemic, we kind of see that telemedicine's become a thing. And we've seen more online education. We've also noticed that property values are anywhere from 3 to 7%, depending on which study you look at. If you have a fiber-connected home, it's 3 to 7% increase in value. That's significant. And I said that at the Lincoln County meeting, and the tax assessors' eyes lit up. So, education, employment, medical, security, emergency services, commerce, and even entertainment. That's all what has come out of this. I mean, we have folks work from home. And I'm sorry, I didn't introduce Tabitha. This is Tabitha Davis. We're not big enough to have a grant writer, but she's our grant writer. So she does a lot of other things at the phone company as well. But sorry about that. But anyways, Tabitha gets to work from home sometimes. Especially when her little girl has an online school day. And, but with the state of New Mexico struggling in so many ways, when we think education, security, employment, broadband can help a lot in all of that. So we know we need to do better than what the copper plan allows. So, you go to the next slide. So, you keep hearing us talk about fiber. And we all know Starlink's out there now, and there is some point-to-point wireless. All of that is not future-proof. It is a Band-Aid. And I have Starlink at my house. I'm testing it for the phone company. And I live between Duncan and Pinon, so if you're familiar with that area, I have obstructions all the time. I have to keep moving my dish. And then they have a data cap now, that even they say on their website, it'll only affect 1 out of 10 customers. It is a generous data cap, but nobody expected a data cap yet. And their data cap is 1 terabyte. So 1 out of 10, that's a big user. That's probably who needs it the most. And I don't know how you go to work online, go to school, run your security system, stay in contact with loved ones, have access to telemedicine, when you might be over your usage and don't have internet because your kid downloaded a couple games. I mean, we saw a huge spike in some of our traffic last month, and we're all going, what happened? What happened? What was the significance of this huge spike? It was spring break, and all the kids were downloading new games. So, you know, just things like that. I mean, without it, if you don't have that every day, and as much as you need every day, your internet connection is kind of worthless. And there's also a scalability issue. And, you know, the definition in 2019 was 10 megs down, 1 meg up. The FCC definition in 2020 was 25.3. Now, 2021, it's 100 by 20. That's 3 years. And now the Treasury Department's recommending 100 by 100. Well, that's really not even sufficient. And fiber is the only one that's going to give you gigabit speed, which is where we're headed quickly. I mean, it's certainly going to happen quickly. So that's some of the issues with that. So this is what we've done. So we have been successful in getting some awards. And you know, I had to kind of clear this up at our meeting on Monday. They showed these huge amounts. And yeah, they are huge amounts, but they're not grants. And some there's a grant portion, but there's always a match. And you got to put your money up first and spend your money first, and your money is stuck there. And the other ones that we've got, the majority of the investment we're going to make in Otero County, which is about $16 million, the majority of that is a loan. So we've got a lot of skin in the game, and it's going to be 208 miles of fiber optic cable. We're going to get 1,600 of the 2,500 locations that we have with high-speed internet with fiber. So those property values are going to go up. Those kids are going to do better. There's going to be some work from home. You know what the real estate market did in Cloudcroft during the pandemic? One time I was talking to a real estate agent, and they said we have 7 properties. That's it, that's on the market. Because everybody wanted to move the mountains. They wanted to move the mountains and work from home. So they were very disappointed. But we've got future projects. You can see all of the light blue lines. That's the future projects. And the existing transmission fiber, not distribution fiber, is the orange lines. So this will all be fed by that. But we're going to have all of our co-op area at about 90% gigabit capable within the next 5 years with the funding that we've got. The funding is tough to get. It takes a lot of time, takes some outside resources, especially on the financial and the cost study end. So the reason we went with loans is because we couldn't afford to lose. What's crazy is the city of Artesia is considered rural and gets points towards getting a grant, but the town of Weed is not. And that's just Washington D.C. for you, you know. Pinon is not rural, but Roswell is. And I mean, I don't get it. I don't get it at all. And it's all based on points to get the grant. When we invest so much money into getting to do the application, we got to win. And to get a loan, you don't need as many points. And we know we needed to do it. So, you know, these are some of the challenges we have. You know, the cost of rural construction for aerial is about $45,000 a mile. If we're going to bury it, if we got to saw rock, you got to get out the big machine there in the corner, and that's about $120,000 a mile. And so the fastest way to deploy it, the most cost-effective way to deploy it, is to use your joint use agreement with your electric company and get it on their poles. And so, I mean, we're facing some other issues too. Supply chain, of course. They're fixing to roll out the BEAD money, which they were talking about. When that happens, we won't get a contractor. So we are aligning ourselves with a local contractor as much as we can that's currently doing work for us. And it said, don't leave us, don't leave us, don't leave us. There's plenty of work to do here. You know, and I don't need to tell you about the public land. I saw you all at the Forest Service meeting in Chaves County the other day. I loved your defense that you just can't give away any more land in Otero County. I mean, there's just not much left. We also, and this is kind of the tricky part, we also have completion timeframes. So with some of the state money we've got, it's a 36-month build out. And the federal money, it's a 5-year build out, 60 months. And so you're gonna be a year and a half just on getting your permits right away. I mean, I've had Forest Service permits take over 2 years. Same with the BLM. The smaller, the closer we are to home, state, it gets a little easier. In county, it gets real easy. Y'all are great to deal with your road department. I wanna thank you for just seeing this as economic development for your county. And the fact that they don't charge us is a great benefit. Eddy County, could y'all talk to them? Maybe it's they're a little tough, but they think everybody has oil money. But that's just some of the stuff we deal with, and of course, you know, all the endangered species and everything else. So it's always a challenge.
Have you done that yet?
No.
I'm just wondering. I have them in my house.
So this is our funding. Our next slide is our funding shortfall. So, you know, this is more money than anybody else here was talking about. But there are some options here that maybe we can help, that maybe we can get your help. But this is the funding shortfall just for Otero Electric. When we started applying to attach to their poles, which we regularly do, last time we had a 100-pole attachment, we replaced 2 poles at $1,600 a pole. Because of the areas we're going in and because of the age of their facilities, we're looking at about a 50% replacement rate when we talk about how many poles we're gonna go through. And now, they give me a pole price anywhere from $3,300 to $5,900.
For one pole.
What's that?
For one pole?
For one pole. This isn't what we were expecting. It wasn't what our cost consultants were expecting, but it does jeopardize all the funding we got. Because this is Otero County. It's 2-point-something million for Lincoln County. It's about $1 million for Chaves County. And that's where Otero Electric is. Central Valley Electric, they're 2 different type of entities, but we deal with Central Valley Electric, the co-op as well. And this, you know, I should have brought Mario down, he could explain it better, but basically a power company makes money selling power, not taking care of infrastructure. And Central Valley Electric, they charge us no make-ready. They charge us very little for the annual pole attachment fee. They charge us $8 a pole. But they sell a lot of power to the oil and gas industry. Otero County Electric has a lot of seasonal customers and has no oil and gas. Matter of fact, I think we're the biggest customer for Otero County Electric. And we're nothing compared to oil and gas. So they don't have those revenue streams like Central Valley does. So we're really thankful that, I mean, Central Valley could push the issue with us too, but it's kind of my understanding there isn't much room for leeway with Otero County Electric. And so we're looking at, we have met with them. I've met with Mario 6 times now, and some of their board has met with our board, and they don't seem to budge. And so we're at a bit of an impasse with trying to get these done in time. So, you know, like I said, Sierra County helped out when Continental Divide Electric Co-op wanted to charge Sacred Wind so much for their poles. They stepped in with some ARPA money. Times are different now, and you don't have any ARPA money, do you? But anyways, I want to let you know where we're at. And so one of the things we were talking about with Lincoln County is Tabitha's pretty good at kind of sniffing out those grant opportunities and things like that. And just wanted to make you aware, if something like that comes up, we'd like you to participate in it. I almost didn't bring Tabitha today because they tried to steal her at Lincoln. So, but anyways, but there's that. We also could use some letters of support whenever we do apply. We have an application coming up with the New Mexico PRC, and it is basically just to do some short fiber runs in addition to these that didn't make a big federal plan that we have to get all these. These are just gonna be some short runs up in the Mayhill Exchange area. And those applications are due at the end of May. So we're getting those done, and we'll be asking for a letter of support just from you all. And again, it's a cost share. It's a 75-25% cost share. So we're looking at about $2 more million worth of work, and we got to come up with $500,000. And there is no free money out there with the government. You all know that. So, but anyways, any creative ideas, anything you have to help us get the same people in the county that we're all trying to take care of, we would greatly appreciate that. So, any questions?
Joaquin was able to attend, but he got COVID on Monday, and he was supposed to talk about DOD funding. And so I'm going to reach out to him,
Okay.
Because I know the DOD funding does the applications towards all the Air Force Base and the jail and PSAT building. But I'm wondering if because of the military practicing on the Mesa, if that wouldn't qualify for any of that DOD funding as well.
Right.
And Joaquin is the one I'll be in touch with.
Okay.
That. The telephone poles, do you get them local from Lupe?
We don't get them. It's an Otero County electric project. And one of the issues is we've just had trouble even getting, it's not a high priority to them. I mean, they've got, it's the old thing, just because you have an emergency doesn't mean I have an emergency. And I get it, I understand. They're good folks, we don't have any animosity towards them, but it's taken over a year just to get estimates sometimes. How many poles? How many? And so these numbers are my numbers. I've asked, can you just make an estimate? Oh, we're not comfortable. Yours look good, They're not gonna go out there. It could be substantially more. And this is what I've seen with what comes back. They cost about $4,200. Some runs of poles we're looking at going on, they want us to replace over 60% of the poles at our cost. And these poles we're replacing are 70 years old plus. And we really have no recourse. I've talked to the PRC about it. We don't get involved with that. I've talked to the Rural Utility Service, and they are. They said, why do they have poles that old? A pole is depreciated out in 33 years. There's no reason to have a pole over 33 years old because you get no depreciation back on it. But I don't know. I mean, but we just wait, and we can't wait because we have a timeline. So they are working towards doing a desktop analysis of their poles and making some quicker estimates. They won't guarantee, but at least will give us some idea, so we know exactly how much we need in our GoFundMe account or whatever, however we're gonna get this. So, but anyways, that's kind of where we're at with broadband up in the mountains. And certainly, we're always available for questions for you guys. I know it's a big issue. You've got another great provider down here in Tularosa Basin Telephone. Josh Beam does a great job. And they're going after some money as well. Their poles seem to be in better shape where they serve. So. None of this funding is in our co-op. And so, and Cloudcroft is not in our co-op. We do have we bought the cable system there years ago. We serve it with coax cable. And it's kind of how we know the limitations of coax. I mean, it's serving well now and can do gigabit speed. It is a shared network, so there's more fluctuation than a fiber network. And coax only works really in a density of population. It doesn't work in our co-op anyways. There was already in the Rutherford subdivision and some of the Twin Fork Wimpsett area, there was a coax plant that when we acquired, the Cloudcroft coax plant just came with it. So my preference was we would run fiber there, but because the coax is there, it's considered served. So there really isn't much help. We did talk to Kelly Schlegel with the Office of Broadband Access and Expansion. They're supposed to have some funding come out that they can have access to thanks to legislation that was passed 1st of July. And I told her, I said, you know, you want to piggyback with federal money to do the most things you can for it. This would be a way. And so she's wanting to push legislation next year, in the short session. So it'd have to be on the governor's call to provide some money for pole, make ready. What I want them to do is set a separate fund, take some of the broadband money and make a separate fund, cap the amount that we can pay from, you know, can't be more than 10% of the application, can't be more, you know, and you max it out. And then make those pole owners apply and justify why they need more than that, and draw down from that other fund. And she said, we really don't want to run two funds, one's enough. So, I don't know, it's a big impasse. It made the Wall Street Journal, Socorro did, with the same issue. So, I don't know. I was glad to see Otero there at the meeting Monday. Kind of made me worried that, you know, because a lot of electric co-ops are getting into broadband. And he routinely says he's not, you know, that their board is not. But, I mean, that's a change of a general manager, change of a board member, and they are. And it would be a shame if, I don't think there's anything malicious with this, as far as that goes. But it would be a shame if we hold this up, or we have to give back the money. Because it'll be considered funded for the 5-year build-out period before anybody else can apply. And so it would actually do more harm than good that we did get the award. So
How much is the other counties contributing into this?
we're just now asking. Chaves County, they do have some ARPA money left, best I understand. They're not really allowed to talk about it, but they are. I did talk to them. They are going to have an RFP go out for just to see what the needs are. They had Findlay Engineering do a big study on their place, on the whole county, to see what the needs are. So they've got a pretty good assessment. And Findlay's, we went to that county commission meeting, and Findlay's recommendation was deal with your ISPs, get them some money. And so that's Chavis's county. We're waiting on the RFP. I talked to Mac Rogers at the meeting Monday, and that's so nice to have live events. I mean, and you see somebody you recognize, you go over and visit, and he was saying, we're gonna leave. He told us, he said, PVT's the only one that's aggressive in Chaves County. You're the only ones wanting to get to those rural areas. We're gonna make this RFP pretty wide open for you. Get as much of it as you can. And that'll help in Chaves County. And I live, like I said, between Pinon and Duncan, so I live in the boot heel of Chaves County. She lives in Otero County up by Mayhill, so I'm glad, because it's Otero Electric poles, and I guarantee you the ones by my house are in that 70-year-old category. So Lincoln, they don't have any ARPA money left. We are going to be looking for some grants. They want to work with us, and they could possibly assist on some of that matching portion going forward. The biggest amount is in Otero County, because that's where we have 2,500 locations. So, and it's also where we've had some public meetings with some of the property owners associations and all, St. Cloud Country Estates and you know, some others coming up. And Starlink doesn't work there. Starlink and Pine Trees don't get along. And there are a few people that have it, and they're not happy. Well, Starlink has no customer service. So when you have something go wrong with it, I always just tell people, before you get Starlink, get on social media and join one of the Starlink groups before you make your decision. It'll take you about 3 days.
You can't send Elon a tweet?
Nope, you can't send him a tweet. But there is no customer service. So like at my place, where if I didn't have PVT's DSL service and I just had Starlink, it says, you know, you get on your app online. I have no cell service, so I got to drive somewhere to get on my app and tell them it's not working. And then whenever I get service again, it usually takes 2 weeks to respond. Is what you can go on the social media groups and read it. And And then you gotta self-diagnose it, and then you gotta buy the new parts. The cable they use has, you know, proprietary ends. You can't run down to Walmart or can't go to El Paso to Best Buy and get one. You have to wait for them to send it to you. And that's typically what goes wrong, is that cable. The cable end is huge. I mean, you gotta drill like 1.25 hole in your house to get it inside. It's got a lot of problems. I mean, he had a national, or I think worldwide outage here last week, where he had a whole bunch of satellites deorbit for some unknown reason. So, fiber is gonna be the solution, and I can't say that enough. The IRS depreciates fiber in 50 years. The IRS depreciates wireless equipment in 5. So that kind of tells you. J.O. Copeland, you may know the Copelands out there by Pinon, but we get him with a wireless signal to get his internet. And we had fairly new equipment out there, and J.O.'s, there was an equipment failure. So when they tried to get the new parts to replace it, you know, the vendor says, oh, that equipment's 5 years old, we don't support that anymore, you have to replace the whole system. So we spent $25,000 for J.O., who pays, I think he's on ACP too, I'm gonna violate stuff here, but J.O. probably pays about $40 for internet a month. So we paid $25,000, we get the new equipment, we have to wait on it, and J.O.'s out for 20 days. His grandkids are there going to school, his daughter lives there, she's taking college classes. J.O. has, you know, he's fighting some medical stuff, and the internet's used for the telemedicine portion of it. You can't go 20 days. And it's just like with Starlink, you can't go 2 weeks anymore. It's an essential service anymore. So, again, I didn't expect to leave here with a check for $3.8 million, but I just want to let you know where we're at, and just we're looking for creative ideas and some cooperation going forward.
Commissioners, for your planning and consideration as you look at this, you know, ARPA money was mentioned. We could absolutely, if we had ARPA money, we could use this. Any federal funds, we can get around the anti-donation clause, and we could use this. But our funding that we have as a county and that we are giving to some of these other organizations wouldn't be applicable here. We do have some federal funding that has been planned, and the allocation is for the new courthouse. We'd have to talk to Julianne if there is a possibility of moving money here and moving money there, and potentially doing something with this. But absent that, we don't have any other federal funding. We do have our grant writer coming on board, and there are different federal initiatives that local governments can be applying for to develop infrastructure like this, and we can certainly make that a priority for the grant writer, and make sure he's engaged with PVT on these types of things.
That'd be great. Thank you. Yes. I was just gonna suggest that. I don't know if Kelly Schlegel's gonna let us go or not, but if any of you would like to attend, we'll attend with you. I mean, just to kind of help you out.
They actually asked me to be on the statewide planning committee and interviewing committee, and I said yes.
Good
So
deal.
I'm gonna have to tag along on your side and learn about this stuff. 'cause
Okay.
I know nothing.
Okay.
But I'm gonna try and get as many resources as we can to Otero County.
Okay, that sounds good, and you've got my mobile if you need it, but yeah. You know, this is, I have 10 kids, and
You have 10 kids?
Yeah. 6 of them have left. I mean, so I've got one going to New Mexico State here, but they leave the state for the opportunities. And this is, I don't like that. And I think we've all have experienced that. And they go elsewhere, and it's, they're like, wow, things are really going great here, you know. Sorry, come home and see us at Christmas, you know. But yeah, I've got one in Oklahoma City, I got one in Phoenix, I got one in Lubbock, and I got one in Nashville. And I wish they'd have stuck around. But,
I feel your pain.
broadband can help that. I mean, it can't solve that, but it is something that can help, because we can use it for education, we can use it for employment, we can use it for security and fight crime a little bit too, you know.
And also, I don't think it was talked about on Monday, but, the lack of installers and certified
Right.
installers. So did find a program that I think we'll be able to get on the Hill. And I'm working with somebody there, Donna Anna actually called me today.
Oh, good.
So we can, and I'm excited about that.
Yeah.
We can get employees to help you.
Good. Well, we sure thank you for your interest and your presence at those places, and once again, well done on Monday. That was great. So, thank you for your
Thank
time. I know
you.
we're the only thing stopping you from lunch, but thank you for your interest. Okay, yep. Thank you, Pam.
Okay, we're not gonna vote on any of it today, right? We just have to, just gotta. Anybody have anything else?
Yeah, I got one thing.
Okay.
You got several of these. I talked to Pamela this morning about it. For example, the chamber. Michelle called me last night, said she knew nothing about it. They definitely would like to apply. So there's 9 of them on here that I'm not real sure why. One that we talked to last year, we gave money, was the search and rescue. I'm sure they need it again. I don't know why they don't.
Again, I don't know, Julianne sends out those packets, and I believe it's to prior funding individuals as well, so without her here, I can't answer as to why they didn't get funding packets.
And she also sent reminders to them,
Yes,
too,
she
for
did.
the ones that did not receive the packet, she did send reminders to.
Okay.
So, that's kind of disheartening, because she shouldn't even have to send a reminder out, but then they didn't reply even after a reminder.
See, and I don't know who, like, this is through the chamber. I don't know who she's sending it to. But like I say, when she called me, first time she heard about it was an hour before she called me last night, period. So I don't know if it's going to, for example, GB and he hadn't been there, or maybe he didn't spread the word. I don't know on that part. But that place does do a lot for Otero County, and so the search and rescue,
I mean, at this point, the only thing we can do is Julianne can reach out to each one of those organizations again. We do have to have an application from them.
right.
That's about all we can do is,
Say on the chamber, if they came over and got one and got it filled out, would that be just quickening the deal? Can they do that?
She had told me the other day that if people came late, that she would offer that to you guys and ask if it was okay to, include them in the request. But she definitely was willing to do that.
Yeah, because Mayhill Community Center, they always ask for money too. So,
well, Mayhill Community Center is another story. We'll have another discussion about that.
Oh.
There's been some big turnover up there, and I have not received my quarterly reports in over a year. So that's something I'm working on, trying to reach out to who actually is running our facility. That's another discussion.
And then that's something else that I wanted to ask, are the reports of their spending and everything for last
We
year's
don't
money?
get reports of spending. What we get for our lease management agreements are volunteer hours that they serve in lieu of cash grants. That is what's required to list it for the finance. We don't get their operating expenses.
So when we give them,
Oh, you're talking about,
$160,000?
they bring us receipts, and what else do they
Yes,
give us?
quarterly, they give us a report on what they've been doing with the funds, but when they ask for the request, there's always receipts and backup, that, everybody's been pretty darn good.
And they don't just get the money ahead of time.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
It's just they pay.
So is there anybody on this list that has not complied with the quarterly report?
I can't answer to that. I deal with the lease management agreements as to the social programs finance does.
I would like to.
I can sure look in all the books, I have them all in my office, so we can go through them
Okay.
and make sure, but everything that I've seen recently, it's all been up to date.
Okay, anything else? Nope. Okay, all right, we're adjourned.